Hello and welcome. This is Grant Hughes of Grant Hughes Investigates on YouTube. This channel evaluates all aspects of true crime. As you are aware, videos and live streams in this genre often discuss elements of crime that may be disturbing to some viewers. If necessary, take the precautions needed to avoid these feelings. Factual information related to cases is the key to fostering rational true crime discussions. Fortunately, you will find that here. Please hit the like button only once, share the video, and subscribe if you like my content. Thank you very much for watching. I don't know if you can see them. I don't know what's going on with the dogs. Looks like they're fighting over something. Not sure what they're doing over there. Yeah, what's going on? See. Oh yeah, I've got some news in the Delphi case. A couple things really quick. You've got no, it's not a legitimate question. If you don't, if you're already antsy after 4 minutes, don't come watch my show, okay? Hey, thanks, Devin Johnson. Do you think anyone has crime photos besides cops? Well, I'm sure the defense has them. So, you know, wouldn't be shocked. This case seems to be, the Idaho case is resembling the Delphi case quite a bit. A lot of these weird, same kind of weird people that follow it on these crazy conspiracy nutters, etc. You know? Weird stuff. Alright, so right here it says the court having received the defendant's Richard Allen verified, remember the motion, this is the Delphi case really quick. He verified, remember the motion to correct errors filed January 20th, 2025. The state's response to the motion to correct error filed February 4th, 2025, and the defendant's verified motion to strike the state's response to the motion. Remember they said, oh, you got to strike this because it had this error and this one. It's been denied. Verified motion to strike the state's response to motion to correct error without hearing. So she just said, you're denied and there's no hearing at all. And that's the way it should be. It was so ludicrous. In the Delphi case, they were trying to say that, let's see, an investigator that spoke to a criminal who said he spoke to a Ron Logan before he died, and Ron Logan said something. You know, like specific information, and somehow that should have corrected an error. There was no error in the case. You didn't use that as your trial strategy. And there's a whole bunch of different things. You know, the time of the Brad Weber driving by, etc. So that's all been thrown out the window. Yeah.
Let's continue the wave phrase.
Yeah, that'd be cool, Kami. I mean, last night was, we just absolutely bombed on the show in terms of support. So if you guys have the ability on this show, that would be great. Thank you. Let's see. What's going on? Hey, freaks. Sarah Austin said, this one said, let's continue the wave. And then this one said, I'm stressed out about the extra DNA that Ann Taylor is making a big deal about. Yeah, no, I wouldn't be stressed out about it.
The extra DNA that Ann Taylor is making a big deal about.
Maybe they'll just end up testing it. And it'll be Joe Schmo, the student, and the blood was dried and been there for a long time. That's probably what it's going to say. Hey, thanks Alley Cake and Amber Maiden. I'm just going over these quick things really fast here, though. And then this one is
Ocean wave.
defendant motion to correct abstract of judgment filed, reviewed, and denied. That's awesome. But then right here, defendant's motion to preserve specific evidence. This is the one from yesterday, remember? They wanted to have all those interviews and everything. Oh my God, store all that stuff that those guys, you know, with Reese's video and the 8 letters and all this crap. Listen to this. It says, defendant motion to preserve specific evidence filed January 20, 2025 is reviewed by the court. The defendant has cited no authority, either statutory or case law, that supports his motion. The court will maintain the exhibits admitted into evidence in accordance with the trial and appellate rules. However, the court does not have the authority to order. So what she's saying, yeah, we'll maintain all the exhibits that were at trial and all that kind of stuff. But the court doesn't have the authority to order the state of Indiana, including the prosecution's office, and all law enforcement agency labs or state, federal, and local bureaucracies that possess any of the following evidence to preserve said evidence and not destroy or lose said evidence. Defendant motion to preserve specific evidence is therefore denied without a hearing. They got absolutely nothing. That's amazing. And exactly the way it should be. This is just a smoke and mirror bullcrap by the unethical, in my opinion, defense attorneys that represented Richard Allen. Okay, defendant's motion for hearing on motion to correct error filed January 20, 2025, reviewed. No hearing is required on defendant's motion to correct error. Therefore, the motion for hearing is denied without hearing. There you go. So that is the update. Now there's some new information. You know, the Asha Degree case. Apparently there's some new information that came out in that one today. Apparently, like, there's some overheard confessions, etc. And there's I want to have the warrants, you know, the actual arrest warrants in that, or whatever it was, the actual documents they're referring to go over, instead of just reading a quick blurb in a newspaper article. So hopefully we get those soon. Right. I'm not sure what the what's going on here. I'm reading, you know, that Robert guy seemed really upset. Is there a reason this show is starting a little late? Well, I didn't get on time. I was communicating with somebody. And it's just like, come on, just relax, man. You know? Calm down a little bit. Let's see. Hey, get rid of that Buck Nick 213 real quick. Thanks, Alley Cake, Kami, Sarah Austin, Alley Cake. And if you guys could get the coffees, and we also need channel memberships. Last night was like a zero blank across the board, basically. So I'm not sure what happened, but that's how it turned out. And on this channel, every single night, I try to raise funds to help support the channel and to be able to give away thousands of dollars at the end of the month as well. And we just kind of need to keep the ball rolling. And it's difficult when it's like this, because on the live streams, the ad revenue, there is none. Maybe $15 or something. So it's like, it really just comes down to the support that the people watching the show give the channel. So I'm hoping I don't have to keep mentioning it over and over and over and over again, like I apparently seemed to have to do last night, and it didn't even make a difference, you know. So anyways, today I made a video on the DNA in the video, and there's these people that show up in the comments section that are either intentionally, willfully ignorant, or just proof that our society is filled with really dumb people. They're like, hey, Gray, the video, we already know about the video. And I go, yeah, I know, the video's been out there. What I'm saying is that the 35 minutes of essential time is missing that would have shown the Elantra drive back the same way it came and then eventually come back again. And it would allow a person to finish the loop that the vehicle was making, okay? Because we hear the audio. And it would be great to have synced that up. That would have been awesome. Thanks, Moofies. And nobody's chatting right now, so are we interested in doing the show, or what's going on? It just froze up again. Not in the greatest mood tonight. All right, I got put into a shitty one just before the show started. All right. So we're going to go ahead and, where is it? I guess should have kept that open right there. Well, was there anything about it that was confusing to anybody? Maybe we should do it like that. Was there anything that was confusing? I mean, it's just the comments are just... one of them, I don't know what to tell you guys. You guys ever go read them? Underneath the videos that I make, the comments that people make, it's as if their brains do not work. They do not correlate logical, sort of linear thinking. They've been sold a bill of goods by a bunch of unethical YouTubers in months where I sort of was doing other things. And my God, it's a travesty out there. It's amazing. It's like, I don't know. Maybe I'll just open it up and we can go look at some of them. It's crazy. It's absolutely unbelievable. Let me see if I can find some of these. Yeah, right here. All right, what do we got? What do we got here? Comments. So some of them are good, like I'd say a lot of them are good. And, like I like ones like that. You're amazing or whatever, but let's see. It's pretty obvious you got the check in the account to push the agenda. Listen to this, you guys. Put put a $5 in there if you've seen this before. Super chat. If you've seen me being accused of being paid by, like, the FBI or I'm some sort of a shill. Well, I don't want to send it, Gray. Well, I'm trying to get raise the funds on the channel tonight because yesterday just set us back. We were just starting to creep back and then it went back down again. So it says, that's pretty obvious you got the check in the account to push the agenda. It's obvious. You YouTubers should be ashamed of yourself and ask yourself, why are they paying me to keep pushing these agendas into people's ears? Because a lot of it's misinformation. But you all follow the same script, basically from day to day. Who's all? I'm like the only one that's even covering it reasonably. Hey, thanks, Ozzy and Alley Cake. There you go. Yeah, we just passed yesterday, believe it or not. Oh, I feel better. Hey, Mrs. Ryan, hey, it's good to see you. All right, woo! Let's all just get happier, in a better mood right now, okay? How are we going to do it? Here's another one. Funny part is the people who put the video out on YouTube are not Kohbergers. They're FBI misinformation specialists. They're not. You know who it is, you guys? You remember the guy that chased me out and said, give me your phone? That's the guy who has these videos, okay? And he gave them to certain people that are pro Kohberger, and then they remove those portions for some weird reason. Very strange stuff. I guess it's also, possible that the investigator said, yeah, you can release it, but just don't release this portion. And maybe, but the thing is that the defense has that. They know exactly when the vehicle is moving around, etc. And that just would have helped us put the timeline together. Now, here's another one of the idiots right here. To say, and this is a quote, the white Elantra was there for 12 minutes, and during that 12 minutes is when the knife sheath was left on the bed, and it had Brian Kohberger's DNA on it. Therefore, the white Elantra that's driving around is absolutely ludicrous. And no, it's absolutely logical. But you left out sort of the way it's explained. You completely left it out. The vehicle, the white Elantra, had been doing multiple loops, and then on its final pass, it parked back here from 408 and then was leaving at a high rate of speed at 420. And it would have had to have been inside this green area. That's the only place where it would have not been on a camera for those 12 minutes. And then inside this house right here is where all 4 victims were killed during those 12 minutes. And then inside the house, in this little area right there, was a knife sheath that was found that had Brian Kohberger's DNA on the knife, the clasp of the knife sheath. So therefore, the Elantra, at that point, circumstantially, is Kohberger's. Because what did he do? Jog there? He went running from all the way from Pullman, Washington? No, he didn't. So circumstantially, if you can't make the connection that, oh, okay, I see, so that white Elantra driving around without its front license plate, just like Kohberger's vehicle, it's got to be his because his DNA was left inside there, right? That's how your brain should actually work, but unfortunately, a lot of people can't do that. Hey, thanks, Kami. Gray's a certified human lie detector. Gonna get ya on a stretch ya if you find. What are the odds? Criminal justice student. Okay, that one's a good one. I'm not following. There's nothing to look at. Please, man. What do you mean you're not following? Like the video that I put out that they're saying I'm not following. What are you talking about? This whole video, it made sense. So that's what I'm saying, man. Society's filled, and those kind of people are on the jury. That's scary, isn't it? His car was not there. His car was not there. Well, the DNA says otherwise. The fact that his DNA is in the house means that the white Elantra that was there is his. Okay, do you get what I'm saying? It means that it's not... Here's what it means. The fact that his DNA is on that knife sheath and the vehicle moving around is a white Elantra missing its front license plate, and even Ann Taylor admits that that was their vehicle is spotted, the white Elantra, Kohberger's vehicle, was spotted a quarter of a mile away. It means that it's not reasonable to believe that the white Elantra driving around and stopping is not Kohberger's. Do you get what I'm saying? Like, how would you explain it to me? Well, I think it's somebody else. How come? Why do you think it's somebody else's? Well, somebody else was driving a white Elantra and Kohberger was sitting in that person's white. Wait a minute. Yeah, that's right, because that means he went in anyways. Let's see. So how do we make it? How do you make it not Kohberger's white Elantra? And then you'll say, well, it's not even a white Elantra. Oh, it's some other vehicle, and therefore somebody just planted the DNA on a knife sheath because they want to believe in this massive conspiracy theory. I know, it's amazing. She says, yeah, you guys have a thing that proves that it's his, but it's right there. But the rest of it doesn't link it. You can't prove that's his and all the other ones. But you can, you see, because... I keep trying to explain it to people because right here right here, the vehicle drives by at 3:28. Then it goes by right here at 3:29. Then it goes right by here at 3:29 and 46 seconds. Hold on a second. Oh, sorry, that was my dad. They moved into like a retirement type facility, and now we got to move there. It's just it's smaller now. There's all this crap that from their other house that you got to move out of there, etc. But hey, you guys, is there any chance tonight you guys can help me reach the goal for tonight? I needed this to be a smoother night than last night. I was feeling pretty good. We were moving back into sort of regular mode, and then it just went all right. So that would be great. Oh, and thank you to Thomas for the coffees. I appreciate it. Yeah, I try to bring in, like what the goal on the channel, because YouTube takes, they take 30%. I try to bring in like 200 from all the people in, and then if it bring in 250, I donate 5 memberships. And I don't like to try to have, the goal is just sort of like you try to reach a bare minimum. That's what that is. Okay. We used to have nights where it'd be like 400 or 500 and stuff like that, and at the end of the month I'd give away $6,000 or 5 or 6, something like that. But it hasn't been quite like that recently, so it just is what it is. I don't know, man. I just need to say, try to get back to the support we used to have. Let's see. Someone hung out with him and took his knife. They rubbed his DNA on the snap. Then they borrowed his car and phone for the night. They went to the house and committed the murders. Yeah, but you forgot the part about how they drove the vehicle back to his house, gave him back his phone again. Because then the next day, Kohberger, just spur of the moment, he drove over to Moscow. And then later in the morning, he drove all the way down to Lewiston and Clarkston. And then he goes to Albertsons with the phone in the car. Isn't that amazing? Yeah. It's pretty crazy. Yeah, you left that part out. Huh. All right, so then we've got, then we got this one. I don't think he was involved, but Jack D drives a white Elantra. It is his father's car. Jack D often drives it. There are photos of Jack D driving with the white Elantra. There are photos of him sitting in the... God, you guys are crazy people. I wonder what the... Let's see. He is looking guilty even... Okay, that's a good one. Why didn't the police check Brian Kohberger's vehicle's GPS? Don't cars have those? So can something or someone glitch a surveillance camera? I didn't say there was a glitch. Somebody actually had the video, deleted the 35 minutes, and then exported it out, and now it's gone. That's how they put the little message on there too. And maybe they got it from somebody else who already gave it to them that way. Did the IGG lead them to have a tip? Yeah. That's where the tip came from. The IGG led to Kohberger, and then that's just a tip. So you can just sort of like, however the tip came in, That's it. Who cares? It doesn't matter at that point. So a tip comes in, it comes to Kohberger. Came in, and then they started investigating Kohberger, and they saw, oh wow, look at these 2 officers identified his vehicle, and look at, here's a driver's license picture. Look, he's got the bushy eyebrows like Dill Mortensen said. You see that? Wow, that's crazy. Okay, let's tail this guy. And then they went and collected his trash because they already had a DNA profile on the knife sheath. So they collected the trash, and it turns out the biological father DNA was in the trash. And then so after they got that, then that was enough to get a warrant to arrest Kohberger and then also secure his DNA, and then it matched the knife sheath 100%. See what I'm saying? Huh? All right. So are we frozen here again? This is just where we were last night for the entire show. Amazing. Let's see. We've got what else do we have in here? How did he glitch that camera? I didn't say anybody glitched anything. Very nice work of fiction. Thank you. I always say check your brain or something. I don't know how to respond to these people. Maybe I shouldn't say anything. There is no way you can see that car as a white Elantra, as it passes way, way up at the top of the street. In the dumpster view. Why do you present this stuff? Because it is the white Elantra, and we know that because it passes the A&W. Then right after that, it passes the shot that Ann Taylor, even at that exact time, she admits it. Then it passes in front of Taylor, on the Linda Lane camera on Taylor Avenue, and that's at 3:29:45, and then it continues to drive, and then just absolutely consistently and the perfect timing shows up behind 500 Queen Road. All right, it's just obvious, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, I don't think one came in, Elizabeth, because it would have the total on my screen over here. But yeah, you guys, if you're out there, if you could please help support the channel tonight, I would appreciate it. You got the coffee, super chats, etc. We're just now, for some reason, frozen on the beginning of the show numbers and haven't improved. All right, there's no way you can see the car as a white Elantra. I just explained it. You know, it's the... see, this is one of those people that if you said, okay, there's a guy with a black jacket, and you can see him in the light, and he's got a white hat. Then he goes around a corner, and 1 second later, there's a camera around the corner, but it's dark over there. And you see that, okay, he's got a hat on, looks like it's black, but it's a little darker, so I can't really tell for sure. Or are you going to say, well, that's not him now? Or are you going to go, well, that's not him. Yeah, we can't keep tracking him on that camera because that's not him. It's look at that. It's darker. He's got the... Or do you just use your common sense and logic that the car continues forward at a 3:30 in the morning? There isn't a lot of cars around, and therefore the vehicle that looks exactly the same as the one that you saw before, even from a distance, is, and the timing make that the vehicle. Kohberger does appear to be innocent. Where in the hell do you guys come up with this stuff? And I laughed, and he go, yeah, I agree. Grant Hughes, you go over the car, going here, going there. If you think BK is guilty, back it up with same proof other than the car. I do. It's his DNA is on the knife sheath, you idiot. I've said it 100 times. So I wonder who deleted the camera footage of the Elantra. I don't know. BK is cooked. Is that missing 35 minutes under the gag order? I don't know. Guilty as F. The truth is in the details. 30 plus minutes missing footage. One would think everyone would want crime solved. That right there should be tampering with evidence. It's not. That's not tampering with anything. It's just somebody didn't want it to be seen out there. Who puts trash in Ziploc bags? Guilty people. Has his car been seen in any of the videos? Yes. Ann Taylor just admitted it. The DNA evidence on the knife sheath is way too strong, in my opinion. There's a good one. I can't help but wonder if they showed DM's picture and she picked him out. I've heard nothing of it, but it makes sense. Although I do believe they had enough... I don't know what that means. Jeesh, that's not suspicious. Kohberger, let's see. I am certain the prosecution would find your video extremely valuable. Thank you for simply sharing sensible logic. Love your presentations. FYI, school is... that school. I didn't know that I even mentioned the sales, I guess. So some of these are good, but you notice how there's a string of the sort of Kohbergers that show up in a row. Man, you guys, I'm feeling the dread again. I'm feeling the dread. Yeah, and one of the things that's kind of interesting is this. This is the Pennsylvania probable cause, and they didn't redact anything out of it. You know, like there's no names that are redacted or anything. And I think this part's interesting. I was going to read this. I was going to put it in the video, but it didn't seem to kind of match. It was more of a DNA themed video. Hey, thanks, blah, blah, blah. Welcome. Has there been an effort to find the knife? I bet you they did try to go find it. I know that there was some guy that was communicating with me. He had some kind of a LiDAR type drone. He was going to maybe try to look into it. It's just, I think it's just sort of an overwhelming task for a random person. You know, like, I think it's possible. Like, I drove over here. And I think, where is that? Linda Lane is like, it's hard to see it when I don't have my map on it. Hold on. Oh yeah, that's right, way down here. Yeah, so, you know, at the end, I'll show you. Has there been an effort to? And this one.
Deposited it back. Sent the email and everything. Oh well, here it is. Better work.
Oh, weird. There it is, Elizabeth. I see it. Thank you. Why you allow people in the comments to upset you, or aggravate, or tick you off. Negative, stupid comments roll off your back. No, I like it. It doesn't really. It's just to me, it's sort of entertaining. I don't like delete them or anything. They're just sitting right there. I delete ones that are, you know, just straight up negative. I mean, you don't think I should comment back to somebody who says I'm being paid by the FBI or something to? And how many cases have I been said that in? Let's see, Kanika Jenkins, Delphi, this one, and I think a couple others. You know, it's always the cases where the conspiracy theory people think that the people that are logically going over it are working for the feds. It's really kind of weird, isn't it? Like, if you use logic and common sense, you're working for the feds. I don't know. And yeah, I mean, the thing is what I do is I use the documents, the probable cause documents, and various other things, and I look at it and I see how strong it is. There have been cases where I don't go with what is said on those. I don't do it. I actually decide on my own to, you know, like, wow, that just doesn't make sense. You know, I mean, you guys have heard my, like, even in the Jodi Arias case, you know, the prosecution in that case, even though the outcome is correct, they did some sneaky things. The total garbage, you know. I didn't agree with their sequencing whatsoever. They intentionally tricked. Well, they didn't trick anybody. They intentionally shifted it and changed it by unethical means. And then, you know, Justin Ross Harris, you know, that's a case I completely disagreed with the prosecution 100%. And he was found guilty of malice murder, and then it was all overturned later by the Supreme Court because it was bullshit. So I got that one right too. It's amazing, isn't it? Yeah, but when you say you don't see the car matching up, why don't you see it?
Matching up, but I trust the experts. I don't care about the car. The DNA is there. Woman shrugging.
Right. Well, now, but the thing is, Sarah, because when you say you don't see the car matching up, I don't know how you don't see that. But also, once you realize that the DNA is in there, then all of a sudden it does match, because that is his car. Right? You get it? But I'm just trying to figure out, when you say something like that, I'll admit I don't see the car matching up. How come? Like, what is it that you're not seeing? I did an overlay, for God's sakes, of the white Elantra on the car that stopped, and it's exactly the same. Yeah, but I don't know. I mean, I guess if you don't see it, you don't see it. But I guess what I'm saying is, once you realize that the DNA was found on the knife sheath, then you should say, the deference should go to, okay, then that is his Elantra. You know, I wasn't quite sure. You know, I could see it looks like an Elantra, etc. But once you realize the DNA is in the house, then the Elantra is his vehicle. Okay, unless you think he hitchhiked there, or he got a ride from somebody else that also drove an Elantra. You know, so I guess that's what I'm asking. Hey, thanks, Jeannie Gaia Goy and Carol Ann. I just want the. Well, I must see what you say though. What do you say? Without the DNA, Elantra isn't as strong evidence. Right. I want to see what Sarah says though. Yeah, like I'm telling you, if there was no DNA on that knife sheath, Kohberger would never even be arrested. I don't even know how this would ever go anywhere. You know? But the DNA led to him, and he makes sense. Everything about him makes sense. He looks like Dylan Mortensen described. She mentioned, guess what? I knew that it was bushy eyebrows before he was arrested. Right? Somebody mentioned, okay, so who was it? It was some lady whose friend's daughter is friends with Dylan. And she told me that she said that he had bushy eyebrows, and I held on to it. I didn't put it out there. And then right when the arrest was made, right before the arrest was made, I think there was an arrest made, but we didn't know what he looked like. I said, I brought it up so that people knew that we had it, and then boom, it was even mentioned in the probable cause document about the bushy eyebrows. And so, you know, he matched that, right? Thank you, Jeannie Gaiagoy. Driving your own car. Well, I was hoping to have a conversation. I wanted Sarah to... Is she still around? I don't know how to see her name. I guess she took off. Let's see. Now, there's been a lot of cases like that where I'm opposite of what other people think. And, you know, I mean, I brought these up many times. I want to keep doing it again. It's just, can't exactly take an Uber to the crime scene. The sheath likely hunts him at night. Yeah, that's what I've been saying. I think he sits around and just goes, Gah! He's so angry at himself because it's just the fact that there's the DNA on the knife sheath. What you got to picture is, okay, without that, they may have found at some point Kohberger, and I guess what it would be they go through and they find the Elantras, and then a profiler kind of figures out, like, maybe it's this guy. They look into him, and they do see that his phone had been using the same resource, the same tower as 1122 King Road at some point, you know, because they would probably check every single owner of a white Elantra in both areas, and they actually had already found his, and then they might have figured out that he'd been there 12 times in the area. Then they'd see that he was pulled over. They'd see that he was missing a front license plate. Then they'd see that on the surveillance that they already had, that one of them shows that it's missing a front license plate. And maybe the one that does identify him, that might have worked. You know, apparently. You know, maybe that one, I'm not sure when Ann Taylor's talking about what it means by when it identifies it. Does it show that it's a white Elantra missing a front license plate only, or does it actually literally show that it's his car, etc.? But she seems to agree that that one shows that it's her client's car, right? So I guess you could have had all of that, but then I guess at some point you'd say, how do you prove that he was ever in the house? And there was no DNA in his car. There was none. We don't know of anything that they found anywhere else. So even though they might be able to prove that he was driving around and that his car parked from 4:08 to 4:12, there would be no knife sheath and there'd be no DNA in the house. It would just be, I mean, you know that idiot, the clown YouTuber? He actually made a video where he said, well, maybe Kohberger was just there looking in the window, and some other attacker was in the house while he was watching, and he was like, holy shit, and then he drove away at a high rate of speed. So Kohberger was stalking the residents, right? He was stalking the residents, and another murder just happened right when he was sitting there. Wow, that's amazing, you guys. Think how incredible the timing is on that one. Whew. That's when you call him Unlucky Kohberger. He's over there stalking 112 King Road. He's driving loops around. He parks his car. He's waiting back there. He's just so excited to look through that window. And lo and behold, another killer goes in there and kills him. But maybe before they went in, they wiped the knife sheath on the Kohberger's handle of his door when he was looking through his binoculars. He wasn't paying attention, so he's looking through his binoculars. And then this other guy slid the knife sheath and hit the door handle. And then he goes in and kills him, and then he left it. Oh my God, that's amazing. Wow. Unreal. And it foils many wannabe murder. Alright guys, we only have one channel member in here tonight. Let's see if we can get some new channel members. That'd be good. I think that'd be awesome. Yeah, I mean, you know, I've never seen anything like it, that there's hundreds and hundreds, thousands of people that believe in a clown. I mean, doesn't that just tell you something immediately? Somebody that dresses up like a clown, that they're likely not telling you the truth? Hey, thanks, Sarah. Awesome.
I'd like to know your take on Casey Anthony. Guilty? What happened?
Oh, and Casey Anthony. I don't know. You know, I think, like, I always thought that she killed that kid and then, you know, made it look like a drowning, but it could just be that she was really negligent and the kid drowned and she knew it'd be blamed on her, so she panicked, grabbed the child, and threw it in the woods. You know, but either way, she didn't get punished anywhere near what, you know, I don't know. I can tell you that everybody would want Jose Baez as their attorney if they were in the same situation, you know, because you don't care what he does, you just want to get found not guilty. Yeah, I think I sort of lean towards her killing the child because she wanted to be free. She didn't like having that child. Lean towards that, but it could be that other version that I just told you. Hey, Moofy's upgraded membership to Oogla Boogla. All right. Let's see. All right. Here, let's take a look at this. I want to read what this says. This is in the Pennsylvania one. It says your affidavit is Trooper Justin Larry of the Pennsylvania State Police, Stroudsburg Station Criminal Investigation Unit since 2009. I have served as a detective, and thanks up there, Sarah and Moofies. Your affidavit is Trooper Brian Knoll of the Pennsylvania State Police. Let's see, let me just go down here. It says, on Wednesday, December 20th, 2022, the Pennsylvania State Police was requested to assist the Moscow Police Department, Moscow, Idaho, and Federal and the FBI with a homicide investigation which occurred on Sunday, November 13th, 2022. As a part of the investigation, we reviewed reports and affidavits prepared by the Moscow Police Department establishing probable cause for issuance of search warrants related to this investigation, which are included in the affidavit of probable cause as Exhibit A. And it's weird because there's two different Exhibit A's, because one was written by like Payne and the other one was a different person. Furthermore, investigators began physical surveillance of the property and the area of 119 Lambsden Drive, so that's Kohberger's parents' house, in Chestnut Hill Township, and in the early morning hours of Tuesday, December 27th, 2022, observed Kohberger walking near his residence. So these guys, I always like listening to these narratives because it's like it feels like you're kind of there and you're seeing it. So yeah, just kind of picture Kohberger walking near his residence. Additionally, Kohberger's vehicle was observed entering the Indian Mountain Lake development on December 16th. Seems like they should have put that first, because that's before. And the vehicle is still believed to be on the premises. Why not say, put that sentence first, then go into the 27th? I don't know. But the vehicle is still believed to be on the premises. Investigators are also monitoring Kohberger's cellular phone, which appears to be in the same vicinity of the residence. On Wednesday, December 28th, while conducting surveillance, investigators observed Kohberger traveling through Monroe County and arriving back at his residence. I wonder if they followed him. Based upon this, your affiant believes that Kohberger is located inside the residence and is in possession of items related to this investigation. And so then they requested a search warrant. And here's that Brett Payne's Exhibit A. So let me see if I can find the other one. It's let's see. The full, I think it's this full document here. If I go down, yeah, this is it right here. That wasn't it. That's Exhibit A right there. I can tell just by looking at it. Yeah, see, Exhibit A, statement of Dustin Blaker. See that? Now, when he mentions the DNA, or not DNA, sheath. Let's just go to the sheath. As I entered this bedroom, I could see two females in the single bed in the room. Both Gonzalez and Mogan were deceased with visible stab wounds. I was later advised by ISP investigators they located a tan leather knife sheath laying on the bed next to Mogan's right side. The sheath was later processed and had a K-bar USMC, the United States Marine Corps Eagle. Yeah, whatever. Anyways, let's go to this one now. And there it is again. As I entered this bedroom, but this is a different person, I could see two females in the single bed in the room. Both Gonzalez and Mogan were deceased with visible stab wounds. I also later noticed, see, this is weird how you have the exact same wording, but then they change it because now it's from his perspective. He's the investigator, and he says, later noticed what appeared to be a tan leather knife sheath, but the other one said he was told they found a knife sheath. So this one said, I also later noticed what appeared to be a tan leather knife sheath laying on the bed next to Mogan's right side when viewed from the door. And I don't know why you need to say when viewed from the door. It doesn't make any sense. It's on her right side regardless of, you don't need to be viewing from the door. She's on the bed there and it's on her right side. The sheath was later processed and had K-bar USMC on it. So when I read this one, it makes me feel like they could see the knife sheath just standing in the room, right? Because it said the knife sheath was laying on the bed next to Mogan's right side when viewed from the door. So they're kind of, I guess what they're doing is referring to the location of the sheath, not that they can see it from the door, but then they say the sheath was later processed. Just the way it's worded, though, I also later noticed what appeared to be a tan leather knife sheath laying on the bed next to Mogan's right side. It doesn't say that it was partially underneath her. It doesn't say anything like that. It just says it was next to your right side. All right, guys, we got to about 40%. So if you guys have the ability to help support the channel and keep the ball rolling, I would appreciate it. We're short. We only have one new member tonight and only one coffee as well. So, did you guys just all of a sudden quit drinking coffee or what? What's going on? That's, man, you guys. And if you're wondering, this channel actually, let me show you for the people that don't really watch too often. The reason on my channel, I try to bring in the funds every single night is because, first of all, my channel needs to make an income to survive, right? And there is no ad revenue on the live streams. And that's really what my main thing is. And if you look right here, we donated, out of the income from the channel, $22,000 in the year 2020. Then the next year in 2021, out of the income gave $42,500. Then 2022, like the height of the pandemic, $62,250. Then 2023, $57,350, which was doing still pretty good. And then last year it went down. It was still our third best year at $49,000. And this year, unfortunately, we're only at $1,500 for the first month, which is like way less. We're almost at the 2020 level at that point. So I need your guys' support to keep on doing what we've been doing, because there's a certain point where I gotta, I just take care of what I gotta take care of on my own. I can't do it. And so we have a scholarship fund that we've given $12,000 to the last 2 years. We've given 2 students $3,000 and then 3 students $2,000 in the criminal justice world. So we're making a huge difference there. 5 different students have gotten over $2,000 apiece. And we have a DNA fund that has over $100,000 identifying Jane and John Does. So if that's not something you guys find worthy, I don't know what you could. All right, so this is a channel that actually truly tries to make a difference, and I use the ad revenue, the channel memberships, the super chats, all of that, and the coffees, everything that comes in to be able to donate money at the end of the month. All right. Well, thanks, Karen. Hey, thanks, Allie Cake, and they exist. Became a member. So there's a lot of people, though, out there that don't like my channel because I try to bring in the funds. They think, great, they should just watch the show and not... I don't know how else to do it, you guys. If you guys just came every night and just sat there and watched the show, and I wouldn't even be able to survive doing the show, okay? It's, for example, if I do a live stream and it's like 3 hours long, the ad revenue from that's usually like $20, maybe, total. And then YouTube, and that's after YouTube got its percentage. Is that something any of you would do? I don't think so. I don't know. Maybe it's when those people that have like 1,500 people watching, maybe they're able to do it. I never do. I've never had that. I don't sell the conspiracy theories that more people are interested in than me. People love the conspiracy angles on all the cases, and some people get bored when you have somebody like me who just kind of goes over the factual elements and tries to put it all together into a coherent story that makes sense. So anyways, that's my spiel. If you guys are out there and you have the ability to help support the channel, I try to do this every single night, and I could use your support on the channel. There you go. Let's see what he needs for those in need. This guy, huh? Not sure who you're talking to. Who's Scott? I don't even know like what you guys are saying. Oh, we got a troll in here. Oh, I don't have the... Well, I used to have a bubble up there, but it doesn't work. It actually gets kind of embarrassing. when the bubble's sitting there and nobody's doing anything. Yeah, you would think that the real story would be the best. Right. Thanks, Sandy Shirley. Gifted a membership to Digital Maniac. I like that name. I don't know why. Why do I like that name? That's a pretty good one. Digital Maniac. You're just a digital maniac. Aren't we all digital maniacs? Yeah, I don't know, you guys. I told you what the deal is, and if it makes a difference, it makes a difference. If it doesn't, I don't know how to force anybody to help. All right, and everybody in the true crime community should be like how we are here, trying to give back as much as they can. Right? We're almost at $250,000. Sometimes I go, damn, I should have kept that. Could have paid off my house. Instead, I'm still languishing away. I wonder if they made a Kohberger a lie detector test. Don't know. I like this version here because it doesn't look at all the names are just right there. They don't block them out. They even say Dylan Mortensen. I mean, I think if I put in Mortensen, yeah, right there. You know, both Funk and Mortensen were inside the King Road residence at the time of the homicides. Mortensen and Funk both made statements during interviews that indicated the occupants of King Road residence were home by 2 a.m. and asleep, or at least in their rooms, by approximately 4. Mortensen stated she originally... let me go back to a different screen here. Mortensen stated she originally went to... let's see... to sleep in her bedroom on the south side of the second floor. She was awoken at approximately 4 a.m. by what she said. I mean, I don't know. I mean, the thing is about all of this, I to be honest with you, the whole Mortensen stuff, you know, it's interesting if it's true and all that, but, you know, it's not really important. You know, I got to be honest with you. Like, it's her statements are interesting to try to figure out what happened in there, you know, but that's it. Thanks, Richard Watts. I guess you were the only one that heard what I said. Thank you. Let's see. No, the bad ones last a lot longer because it sells, you know. I mean, it's the way it is, you know. Yeah, oh well, Karen. Just trying to reach the goal. That's it. Let's see. A review of the records obtained from a forensic download of Kernodle's phone showed this could have been Kernodle as her cellular phone. Yeah, so that's when she was on, you know, when she said, hey, there's someone here. See, I actually think that Kernodle was the first one killed, as I showed you guys in my other videos. What I wanted to go over, though, was the same stuff that we went over today, but try to, you know, answer anybody's questions if, you know, you're sort of confused about it. I mean, I guess what they even wrote in their document that they do not want the judge to use the, I guess what it was the STR information regarding the father in the probable cause at all. And that makes sense. So the DNA IgG was not used in the probable cause. The IgG would be sort of like if you were walking down the street and some person walked up to you in a neighborhood and said, hey, I think it's there's a guy, I saw him go around that corner over there. All right, I want my name out of it though. He went around there. When the cop runs around the corner, there he is. Oh, and he arrests the person, and that person's name isn't in it at all, but it led to that person And so that's what the IgG is. It led to the person, and they still needed to investigate, and that's what led to the father's DNA. And really, the father's DNA is what allowed them to, I guess, I mean, it's sort of interesting, I guess, when they say probable cause. So what was it? The probable cause document, it seems like the father's DNA is what was used to arrest Kohberger. Seems like. I think what they're saying is the IgG was not part of it. I want to know if Kohberger used a wiping software to hide his tracks. I don't know. Who are you talking about, Koi? Get the new Ginsu knife. It'll cut down trees and still come out cutting like this. It goes through... Get the new Ginsu knife. It cuts through frozen fish like butter. You can put... Well, I thought you were going to talk about the bamboo steamer. You put frozen fish in a bamboo steamer, it comes out hard and cold. You put the same fish in a bamboo steamer, it comes out flaky and fresh every time. How do you like that, huh? Pretty good. This is PIR, Portland International Raceway, with the biggest thing since the Pinewood Dragway of Rod Laver, a retired astronaut with his hydroelectric car. It's guaranteed to rip out the road right in front of your face. Yep, he'll never confess. Too arrogant. Well, they might make him do that, though. You know? How many of us had a Ginsu knife? Yeah, that's stupid. Wasn't it electric or something? Yeah. Review the 923 altercation meeting regarding professionalism. Yeah, we already went through that like months ago. Yeah, I mean, what you failed thus far in the semester. Yeah, I remember all that stuff. Isn't that just in newspaper articles, though? I don't think it's in a document anywhere. Yeah, I remember that his professor, you know, they wanted him to change. He seemed to be making progress, and then he just reverted back, and the professor tried to get a hold of him while he was driving back, and then eventually when he got home, they talked to him and kicked him out of the doctorate program. What do you mean you personally broke that? I don't get it. Which video depicts your theory about Xana being first? It's one of the last ones that I've done. See, what I think is that at 408, the vehicle drives around and parks. And I think he did blood spatter mitigation by putting plastic bags or something outside the vehicle, you know, getting ready for, you know, getting back to the car, knowing he's going to be killing people with a knife. And then, you know, he goes into the house probably like 4:09, 4:10, and, you know, that's when Xana was TikTok-ish, you know, like 4:12 is the last time that thing was on. And it just feels like, you know, she got the DoorDash, she's awake, she's downstairs, you know. I actually think this might be what it was, is they got the DoorDash at right around 4, they eat it, you know, it doesn't take long to eat food, and maybe there was some left, so she brings the bag back to the kitchen, and while she's in the kitchen, she maybe looks outside and sees that there's somebody coming down sort of the little hill there, or coming around, and says, hey, there's somebody here. And then that person, Kohberger, followed her, saw her say that, runs and you know, like goes in and kills both her and Ethan Chapin in the hallway. You know, not the hallway, but follows him down the hallway and into the room over there. And he thinks he's killed both of them. Then he goes upstairs and he kills Madison and Kaylee. You know, he thought Madison was going to be alone in the room, and I think that's what his original goal was, but he had to take care of Xana and Ethan first. So he goes upstairs, and then he was shocked to see that Kaylee was in there, so then he kills both of them, and either accidentally or left the knife sheath there as a signature because it was completely clean, other than he missed the cleaning of the one little DNA on the snap. Then he goes downstairs, and he can hear whimpering sounds, and then he says, "It's okay, I'm going to help you," to Xana, because she's standing up and she's just like absolutely dying. And then he goes over and he stabs her some more, and then she falls to the ground. That's why there's the thud sound. Then at that point he exits the living room, passing Dylan Mortensen's room. She sees him, but he's in a hurry, turns to the right, and goes out the kitchen door, up to the car, changes out of the clothing, gets into the car, and gets the hell out of there. Doesn't that make sense? Like, if you're just putting a theory together, that all makes sense right there. But hey guys, we're dead as a doornail right now, so if you're out there and you can help support the channel, that'd be great. We got the Buy Me a Coffees, we've got it all, but we've now still frozen at that 40-something% that I mentioned a half hour ago. Probably I don't know if we'll ever get the autopsies, maybe at trial or after trial, something like that. Yeah, what's the controversy about the DNA? And there's also, yeah, the DNA, they're talking about the DNA on the banister. Apparently there's blood with some unknown DNA, but that DNA, yeah, listen you guys, that house is a party house, a rambunctious party house that had parties there all the time. There is probably little spots of blood and so forth all over that place. And then there's a glove that was found outside by a YouTuber. And apparently there's a little bit of blood on that one, and that was found like a week later, so who cares? I mean, why not test it though? Just so you can get it out of the way, because they're going to, and or if the judge says you're not allowed to bring that up at trial to the defense, which they should say to them. I don't know, Jen. It's okay. Let's see. Thanks, Kami. What's making it so hard in here tonight to get moving along? It's crazy. He's just gonna finish her off. It's just weird to me for him to say. No, he says that to keep her calm down. That's why. Right, it's the second time he saw her alive. That's what I mean. He killed her. He thought he killed her. And then he hears her when he comes downstairs. And then he stabs her again, perhaps. I mean, I don't know. It's just a theory to make sense out of, it's okay, I'm here to help you. Because that is Kohberger. It's not something Ethan Chapin would be saying. Okay? They were both attacked right around the same time, so Ethan's not, it's okay, I'm going to help you. He doesn't say that. That's going to be Kohberger. I'm not going to make I'm not posting showing a video on here or anything like that. I was in all kinds of articles, Jen. I don't know. Yeah, the defense doesn't want to know who it is. They just want to use it as a reasonable doubt sort of thing. Well, there's DNA, but it's not Kohberger, so whose is that? But if you define who it is, and it's Joe Smith, the kid that had been at 1,000 parties there, and oh yeah, I remember that one time I cut my hand when I was... Alright, I'm going to put the word coffee in here. Maybe you guys can help with that one. Hey, blah, blah, blah. You can't post links in here, okay? You get a lot. You always get a lot of times people show up and they try to like promote their YouTube channels or whatever, and I don't know. It's just yeah. Let's see. Been away. Isn't known where he entered the house. Yeah, the sliding glass door. Uh-huh. Where is the, you sent my video. I don't know. Oh, is this it right here? True crime. I don't know which video it is. I left one single detail out of this letter, but is that what you're talking about? That one? Jen? What are you thanking for? Blah, blah, blah. What's the thanks for? Where is it? I'm just trying to figure out what you guys are talking about in here.
Anna?
Oh yeah, it's a YouTube channel. Yeah, I can't put those up there. All right. Anyways, yeah, I'm not gonna put it up. I'm not playing your. I don't do the other YouTube. It's been in articles. We've gone over the whole thing. It's really detailed. Let's see. What's Brian? What do you mean Brian's uncle NDE? What are you guys talking about? Man, I just hate when there's just like this whole other shit going on and there's other crap going on and we're just trying to talk about something else and it's just kind of like disruptive. What are you talking about? Oh, Jesus. What does that mean? I'm going to help you. Oh, Jesus. Never mind. I gotta get off of this. I'm about ready to time somebody out. Let's see. What was his plan if the back door was locked? I don't know. Maybe he was going to break through a window or maybe force it open somehow. You know, that K-bar knife, you could probably pry something open with it. I mean, who the hell knows? I mean, people get stuck on that a lot. What are we supposed to... What's this NDE? Brian Kohberger or Ronald Kohberger NDE thing? What is that? I've already asked it twice now. We don't seem to be getting answers for it. I know, isn't he? Idaho Vandals, you're really rude. It's amazing. I thank you for admitting it, though. Let's see... Okay. Well, what's it have to do with this case, I guess? It's just really weird in here sometimes, you know? Confusing. Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, this is the important document here for the DNA. So I thought it was kind of interesting down here because they give an example of another case that was, where it explains it pretty well. No, it wasn't Fort Paz 007. So that's where it's just like crazy, had nothing to do with it. Yeah, well, I've heard NDE for a near-death experience, but I don't know what that has to do with this case. Nothing. Right, that's what I'm saying. When people come in and they start pumping out their own agenda right during somebody else's show, it makes it really difficult for everybody to stay on track. Now everybody's like, hey, I'm confused. What are you talking about? What's this mean? Why are we going to be talking about, so somebody came in here to pump their channel up by saying, hey, Gray, what about that with the letters? I broke that story. Well, what does that have to do with what we're talking about? Nothing, right? So that's kind of where it comes from. I know you don't want to believe that, but that is what it is. Nobody, like, hey, I broke it. Well, why bring that part up? Because you want people to, hell, let me go check. Ooh, just do your own shows, and if you do get on those shows, that'd be great. Yeah, it doesn't connect at all. That's what I'm saying. That's what's confusing about it. It doesn't connect to anything that we were talking about whatsoever. Maybe his near-death story has some crazy, who the hell knows? I don't know. What are you talking about, Cindy? Are you trying to be sarcastic again, or? Man, this show's gonna end real quick. I'm just, let's just look at this one right here. On June 16, 2023, the states filed a motion for protection order. In this motion, the state brings to light law enforcement use of IgG to find a lead after the STR DNA profile from the knife sheath did not return a match in CODIS. It is unknown. Jesus. Hold on. All right. It is unknown to this court when exactly law enforcement employed the use of IgG. So it's sort of interesting. A brief discussion of what IgG entails is necessary to better understand the significance or insignificance of its use in this case. So maybe there was a time when the FBI was just out there on their own and say, hey, look into Kohberger, because they found the name using IgG and they weren't really certain of the date that it was used. I don't know. Consumer genetics has exploded, driven by the second most popular hobby in the United States, genealogy. This hobby has been co-opted by law enforcement to solve cold cases by linking crime scene DNA with the DNA of a suspect's relative, which is contained in a direct-to-consumer genetic database. The relative's genetic data acts as a silent witness or genetic informant, wordlessly guiding law enforcement to a handful of potential suspects. See, this is, if you guys listen to this part here, it'll make sense. Huh? What are you talking about, Sarah? Let's see. Driven mostly by genealogy hobbyists, the majority of the DTC ancestry genetic testing services rely on single nucleotide polymorphisms, or SNPs, which are mutations at the level of individual nucleotides. So like I think there's certain locations on each person that are sort of like Like I think Dr. Colleen Fitzpatrick said we share, like every human shares 99% of their DNA or something. But then there's the 1% that's totally different and in different spots. And then so sometimes if you have fragmented DNA, you can actually just fill in the gaps that people know exist on everybody and then build out a full DNA profile. Right. Driven mostly by genealogy hobbyists, the majority of the DT... Okay, we already did that. SNP data can also reveal whether users share segments of their genome with other users, predicting relatedness through a common ancestor. This works by analyzing the percentage of overlapping bits of genetic code, so-called identical by descent sections that one share with relatives. This is that, I think, that centimorgan thing. Assuming no historical inbreeding, one likely shares roughly 12% of their genome with first cousins and 3% with second cousins and less than 1% with third cousins. Thus, by finding and qualifying overlapping genetic regions, DTC companies can predict genetic familial relationships. See that? All right, you guys, we're still currently below 50% of the nightly goal. So if you're out there and you like this channel and what we stand for and what we do, if you could please consider supporting the channel. We only have the one coffee. We only have 4 memberships. And we're currently only at $98 for the show. So if you guys have the ability to, I don't know what else to tell you. I've kind of made the case already. And if you're, not feeling like you want to support it, I don't know what else to tell you. I can't make you see what I see, The leading consumer genetic companies, 23andMe and Ancestry, allow consumers to download their raw genetic data in plain text format. See, this is it. This is a really good explanation, you guys. This whole thing that we're reading right here. Hey, welcome, Doji. Or Doji. Hey, it's like Doge. Doogie Hauser. So here it is. Look at this. The leading consumer genetic companies, 23andMe and Ancestry, allow consumers to download their raw genetic data in a plain text format, which can then be uploaded to third-party websites. These websites provide a range of additional services, including interpreting the clinical relevance of mutations and allowing individuals to expand the reach of their genealogy search. Up to 62% of DTC customers will upload their genetic data to third-party websites for free or for a small fee. One such third-party website is GEDmatch, an open access service that is free for the most basic searches. Thank you, Michelle H. We need another about 50 of those. All right. Thank you. GEDmatch users. So GEDmatch is one that I have. I'm on that one. They can connect with even more distant relatives who use different testing services like Family Tree DNA or MyHeritage. Then they do so by uploading their SNP profile generated elsewhere onto GEDmatch. The raw SNP data is analyzed using a simple algorithm, and the site then produces a list of likely relatives automatically without the need to share any underlying genetic information with the putative relative. In just a few years, GEDmatch has cultivated a large community of hundreds of thousands of users. Well, they used to have 2 million. And then, because they got paranoid, they had everybody opt out. And then you had to physically, it used to be everybody was opted into law enforcement use as a default. And then you had to go in after they actually removed the default and everybody opted out. Then you had to go in manually and then opt back in for law enforcement use. So it was a really devastating, sort of a mildly long-term setback for forensic genetic genealogy because they did that. It was stupid. And they did it because You can use law enforcement use for, I think it was sexual assaults or homicides, but you couldn't use it for a violent crime like if you were beaten. So, but one company, law enforcement agency, used it for an assault, not a sexual assault. They used it just for a regular assault, and so that broke the terms of service, and they panicked. So they opted everybody out, and then only people, you'd have to go back in and opt in, and now the default is opted out, and you have to go in and manually opt in. So you notice how like 20 people left right when we're going over this right here? And that's because they don't give a shit about what the reality is and how this stuff works. But if you pay attention for 5 minutes in one of these these shows, you'll actually learn something and be able to understand what the hell somebody's talking about. Okay? This all is kind of easy to understand. If you have a question, just ask it. I have no problem answering that. Yeah. Who? The people that just leave? Yeah, it's just crazy, you know. Like people just go, oh, we're talking about. Okay, it's too. I gotta go. Where's the conspiracy? I gotta talk about the conspiracies. You know, and if you can't hang in there on something like this, then you really shouldn't be in the true crime community, because this is really where the nuts and bolts, these kinds of things, that's what it is. Anyways, because the identity of the person from whom the crime scene sample came is often unknown, law enforcement uses a false name, like John Doe, for example, and submits it to GEDmatch. So now you might be asking, how does law enforcement get a raw data file from an unknown DNA source at a crime scene? Because, you know, when we use 23andMe and Ancestry, we spit. Yeah, it's been another bad one. Yeah, Kayla. I mean, yesterday was. I don't know what the deal was. Anyways, you spit into a vial. You guys ever put a 1 if you've used Ancestry or 23andMe or any of those things? Hey, thanks, Lanky Tor. Look at that. Gifted 5 memberships. All right. I think we just got another coffee, too. Hey, thanks. Margarita. Yeah. All right, so you guys have done it. Okay, so when you're on Ancestry.com, if you go into your settings or somewhere in there, I just went and did it again the other day, you can download your raw data, and it's downloaded in a zip file. And in that zip file is just a text document of your entire genetic profile. Okay, but you spit into a little vial, right, and you send it off, etc. So how do you think law enforcement comes up with the same sort of file? Right? Well, that's what's interesting. There's, hey, thank you, Sarah Austin, regarding the sliding glass door. Apparently, there are ways to pry the door open easy. Right, I just was saying he probably could have used his K-bar knife or something. Right. Mm-hmm. Yeah. That's what I was saying. Maybe just use the K-bar knife. So anyways, you might ask yourself how law enforcement's able to create the zip file or the raw data to then upload to GEDmatch or MyHeritage, etc. Right? Well, what they do is there's companies called like bioinformatics, and they can take a DNA sequence and format it into a raw data file that looks and acts exactly the same way as the 23andMe and Ancestry that you download from there. So isn't that amazing? So once they have that, then they can upload it to create an account on GEDmatch, call it John Doe, upload this, and it comes back with your highest centimorgan. It takes like a day or two or so to populate, and then when you open it up, it'll say like your first match is 123 centimorgans. Right? Now what's interesting is there's these websites out here. Let's see. let's see, Centimorgan. I forgot what site it's called, but here, look. Yeah, something like that. There's a. I'll load it up on the screen here in a second. I just gotta see. I'm not sure if you can. This has it. I was hoping it would just pop. Yeah, like right here. See, these are Centimorgan counts, and yourself is right there. So your first cousin might be 874 or between 553 and 1225 Centimorgans. See that? Your second cousin might be 233 or 46. That's the average, and then 46 to 515. And so you can kind of see how close these relatives are right off the bat. Once you've uploaded your profile, it comes back and it'll tell you, okay, here's an account that has 123 Centimorgans. This one has 87. This one has, and then you start. You have to identify who that person is. Then you start looking into newspaper articles, looking for, you find their name in an obituary, and then it'll say survived by his wife so-and-so and their 3 children this. Then you can start building out an entire tree, doing all of these things using various services. Even Ancestry has different things that you can look up, birth certificates, etc. All right? Does this make a little bit of sense to you? So now we'll read this part again. Because the identity of the person from whom the crime scene sample came is often unknown, law enforcement uses a false name, John Doe, for example, and submits it to GEDmatch. Then, when their John Doe matches someone in the database, they use a genealogical data to determine a common ancestor who might be a great-great-grandfather or a grandmother. They then triangulate other data such as birth, voting, military records to build out the pedigrees from that common ancestor, identifying all of the potential individuals who may be suspects. As we each have about 1,000 fourth cousins and 5,000 fifth cousins. I mean, that would make it tough if that's where you started. Hey, thanks, Moxie Drapo. Very kind, very kind. All right, so this is going to be interesting here. I can just tell by the way they were wording it. So look at it. It says, as we each have 1,000 fourth cousins and 5,000 fifth cousins, depending on the degree of relation, this process can be quite time-consuming. That's why you want a closer relative. The methodology is known by different names. In the forensic genetic research community, it's referred to as long-range familial searches, or LRFS. Law enforcement sometimes refers to this as forensic genetic genealogy. See that? And it says, let's see. Is it worth recognizing? I think they're talking about a case here. So, Tennille R. Brown, why we fear genetic informants. So, this is why we fear genetic informants. Using genetic genealogy to catch serial killers. It is worth recognizing that the information, that's kind of an interesting term, genetic informants. That's exactly what these genealogists are, right? They're genetic informants. They say, hey, yep, this person right here, we believe is the DNA that contributed the blood on that knife that you found over there, for example. Let's see. The use of the database like GEDmatch does not necessarily lead to a single individual as a potential suspect. And you know what's amazing? A lot of times the genealogist has to get a hold of who they suspect is a sort of a bridge, and they have to contact them and ask if they'd be willing to submit their DNA to the website, and then give them permission to download their raw data to then upload to GEDmatch to start filling out the tree and continue on. So they actually have to, at some point, contact individuals on occasion. Once a putative relative has been identified, a family tree is created working backwards to grandparents and possible great-grandparents. The family tree is then built down. The construction of these family trees is highly subjective and is based on the use of public records such as marriage and birth certificates. In some instances, contacting individuals, contacting individuals for further family information like out-of-wedlock birth, name changes, or adoptions. This process leads to a pool of individuals rather than one specific individual. The state describes law enforcement use of IgG in this case as follows. Investigators use IgG to begin the process of developing a lead to the individual who left DNA on the K-bar knife sheath. I mean, isn't this interesting, you guys? So for those of you, like these people out there, they don't really care because they just want to move on to this crazy conspiracy shit, but this right here is exactly how this works. And for some reason, it's interesting to me, and I always fear that it's not interesting to other people, and maybe that's why we're having a slow night. But let's see. Investigators use IgG to begin the process of developing a lead to the individual who left DNA on the K-bar knife sheath. The Idaho State Police utilized a private laboratory to develop a SMP, or single nucleotide polymorphism profile, from the DNA on the K-bar knife sheath. The private laboratory, and this is Othram Labs, started using genetic genealogy to develop a family tree. But after law enforcement decided the FBI would take over, the private laboratory ceased its efforts and sent the SNP profile to the FBI. Oh, interesting. Yeah, me either. I mean, pretty soon I'm going to have to, I'll make videos here and there, but I'm going to have to, there's these, a lot of, like, I want to do the Asha Degree thing if we can get the documents, and there's some other missing, but there's so little information on some of these cases that you can't even make a show out of them, Thanks, Dina Tall. The FBI took that SNP profile from Othram Labs and uploaded the SNP profile to one or more public available genetic genealogy services to identify possible family members of the suspect based on shared genetic data. The FBI could then view through the genetic genealogy service portal information regarding potential relatives of the suspect who left DNA on the K-bar knife sheath. Based on information the FBI could see on the genetic genealogy service portal, the FBI went to work building family trees of the genetic relatives to the suspect DNA left at the crime scene in an attempt to identify the contributor of the unknown DNA. The FBI built the family tree using the same tools and methods used by members of the public who wished to learn more about their ancestors. For example, the FBI consulted social media, viewed vital records such as birth and death certificates, and viewed other information, and newspapers.com is a big one, already contained in the user portal for the genetic genealogy service, including unverified information submitted by other users of the genetic genealogy service. The FBI also consulted subscription-based databases available to law enforcement for information on individual people. The product of the genealogy conducted by the FBI was a family tree that contained the name, birth date, and death date of hundreds of relatives, as well as their familial connection between each other and the suspect. Brian Kohberger, and that's, it says the FBI then sent to local law enforcement a tip to investigate defendant. The IgG, and by the way, when they're looking up these people, especially if the FBI is doing it, they're actually able to see that this person is, an interesting individual. Hey, Mark.
This is my first episode super chat. Thanks again.
Hey, wow, that's very cool. I see it right there. Gray H, great content all the time, and you keep it real. It's my first ever super chat. Well, hey, thank you very much, Matthew. I do try to keep it real. Some people don't like that, but it's just, it's hard to be somebody different. I appreciate everybody's support, and I understand that the economy and everything isn't the greatest right now, but, I'm just trying to, we've already got 1,000 into our scholarship fund for the year, and I'm hoping this month I can give more than I did last month, which was only 1,500, which is really bad for our channel. I mean, it's, if I did 2,000 a month, it'd be 24,000. That'd be almost our worst month that we ever had, or year, I mean. So hopefully, when things pick up and there's bigger cases, etc., maybe things will turn around. But right now, there really isn't anything that's like Idaho 4 it's one of my favorite, more interesting cases to cover. But it seems like there isn't really a bunch of other ones that are active currently. Like I've covered the Madeline Soto case from the beginning. I know all that one, but that one just kind of, there's nothing really going on there. That trial was delayed, so it's kind of like, nothing there. The Delphi case is over, but there's all these little things that pop up here and there. Now, if they ever release the transcripts, I will 100% be going over the entire trial in the Delphi case. And I hope everybody would be into that, because nobody's really got to hear. And I think I would be particularly good at going over that, because I know what different things mean. And we'd be able to put it together and be like, oh my God, look at this, So, still looking forward to getting that information or any of the exhibits that they release in that. I mean, hell, wouldn't we all want to see the actual video, the 43-second long video? I mean, that would just be mind-boggling. I can't imagine seeing that thing, having it come to life, Anyways, thanks again up there, Matthew. All right, so down here it says they found Kohberger, and then it says the IGG process pointed law enforcement towards the defendant, but it did not provide law enforcement with substantive I've never been good at saying that word, evidence of guilt. The FBI did not, for example, conduct a direct comparison, right, exactly, between the SNP profile. All it did was say, hey, this DNA looks like it's from this guy named Kohberger. You guys need to prove or disprove that is who that came from, right? And what they're saying is it did not prove that, Kohberger's DNA came from the knife sheath and defendant's SNP profile. That type of direct comparison required the more traditional STR DNA analysis, which was conducted by the Idaho State Profile, not the FBI. Well, it didn't require that. You could have done the same. Like once you had the sequence from the Kohberger's or the knife sheath DNA, you could have created another sequence from a swab from Kohberger and compared it. You didn't have to do it works the same. There's 20 different spots. And let me show you kind of how let me see if I can. Let's see. Yeah, like here, let me just do like an Excel spreadsheet or something. So there's 20 different locations, right? And let's just say it's like, I'm just going to just randomly put these crap in here. I don't even, I don't even know. I'm just going to put, of course I duplicated them. I don't know. I'm just. 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, like that, right? So let's say, so on each human being, they pick the exact same 20 segments of each of the criminals that they put into CODIS, the same exact segment, but they know that each person, they're not all different, but they have a percentage. So let me just try to explain it. So see this right here, this, let's say 321 is what the suspect had, right? But then you say 1 in 10 people have this one. So you go like 1 in 10, right? So you just put a 10 there, and then the 342 that you see right there, it's 1 in 50 people have that one. Then this one right here is every other person has it, so it'd be 1 in 2. And then this person had, you know, it's 1 in 30. So like a lot of people have this exact same marker. It's just, you know, there's a percentage that they've developed over time, right? So even right now, look at this. If you went like this, if the person had these 4, the odds of that are equals this times that times that times that. And so that would be 1 in 30,000 people have those same 4 combinations, right? So then, you know, that's why it gets so huge after a while. So this one might be, you know, 1 in 1,000 have this one. Hey, thanks, Lanky Tor. I saw you do the 5 membership. Well, that was very kind. Thank you. 50, 80 over here. You know, you guys see what's going on here? Like, these are different segments for the STR for the... all right, I guess it's called... Hold on a second. I got to go back out. I might be saying it wrong. I don't want to say it wrong. For CODIS, right? The CODIS markers, there's 20 of them. And each marker for a person has a percentage of the population that that marker has. So maybe 1 in 10 people have the 321 there. I'm just randomly, these aren't real numbers. I'm just, you know, throwing them out there. And then 1 in 50 have the 342, right? So you can see as you go along, you know, you might have, you know, 152 there, 1 in 100, this one, and blah, blah, blah. Now look at, by the time you get out here, if the person matches this whole thing, that's what Kohberger did. So they had all 20 of these with a percentage here, and then look at the number it is right now. So if I went like this, or I can do it like this, if I go equals this times that, 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 times that. I think I missed one there. Go back over there. Does that work? Ah, you bastard. Jesus. How come that didn't work? Is it too big or something? I think it might be too big or something. So equals that times that one times that one times that one times that times that times that. We found a typo in your formula. Oh yeah, there it is. Look at that. Look at that number already. 3.12 to the 16th power. And that's just right here. Okay, you see, so that's why when you get out to the 20th number there, you get into the octillions, a ridiculous number. So Kohberger, if we continue to put like all these over here, 10, 30, 50, you know, all these different things, and you keep going, he matched every one of these. And so when you multiply out these percentages, you get the 5 point something octillion to 1. Do you guys understand that? And that's using the CODIS system. Hopefully that made sense. I don't know if I could make it a better example than that. Yeah, that was in my video earlier today, Patrick. Yeah. Got my first super chat. Best thing about it. My daughter got to witness. Hey, cool, Matthew. Say hello to your daughter. Appreciate it. Thank you. The FBI uploaded a snip profile to one or more of the public. Okay, so then I think we're down here. The IGG process pointed law enforcement towards the defendant, but it did not provide law enforcement with substantive evidence of guilt. The FBI did not, for example, conduct a direct comparison between the snip profile from the K-bar knife sheath and the defendant's snip profile. That type of direct comparison required the more traditional STR DNA, so it was STR, analysis, which was conducted by the Idaho State Police, not the FBI. So what they did in this case was they took the DNA profile off the knife sheath and put it into CODIS. They also, once that didn't determine a person, they then made a sequence and uploaded it to these genealogy services, and yet the STR profile was still in CODIS as an unknown person. All right, so then when they got Kohberger's DNA off the knife sheath, they loaded that into CODIS, and it was a 1-to-1 match. And using the math that I just showed you on the screen there, they came up with, I think it was 5.37 octillion to 1. Okay, so there you go. Did this make sense here to you guys right here when I was showing you this? See, humans, we have these long, massive DNA strands. They chose 20 specific portions on a strand that you've at the exact same location for each of the inmates that they upload this information from. So let's say it's the 437th position to, blah, 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 It's just they have 20 specific positions, and there's a percentage of the population that has each one of those. And then you put them all in there, and at the very end, if you match them all, well, you've got, a huge number. Right. All right. Well, guess what? We are 40 short of the low end of the goal, so if you guys have the ability to get there, that'd be awesome. All right, so they use the traditional method. It says, notably, nothing about the SNP profile, the use of IgG, or the family tree were used. So let's see. So here's the portion that, the Kohbergers don't ever seem to look into. It says, notably, nothing about the SNP profile, the use of IgG, or a family tree was used by law enforcement in obtaining the arrest warrant for Kohberger at the January 5th, 2023 search warrant for Kohberger's DNA. Oh, see, that's sort of interesting. Right, so it wasn't in the warrant. However, Kohberger's father's... You know what? So it is, right? So listen to this. So this is how it worked. The FBI came up with the name Kohberger. Okay, that's the lead. Then law enforcement went over and plucked the trash, got the trash, and got the DNA profile of the father out of the garbage can. So they go, oh, look at this. They compared it using CODIS, and it turns out it was a really high likelihood that it was the biological father of the killer. Do you guys get it? Hey, thanks, Cheryl Morad. Thank you. Very kind, very kind. Well, some people like my channel, some don't. The people who don't like it just hate my guts, man. They just think I'm the worst human being on the planet. Can't help that, though. Just is what it is. If you're not a conspiracy nutter, you're a monster. But look at that. Doesn't this now it makes sense? I thought of this the other day, but it's hard to articulate it. But look at when it says, notably nothing about the SNP profile, that's the one used by the genealogy services, the use of IgG or family tree was used by law enforcement in obtaining the arrest warrant. And that's absolutely true. However, the tip was generated using that stuff, but that's all it was a tip. So it'd be like somebody just saying, hey, you know, look into that Kohberger guy. What if somebody just randomly showed up and said, hey, look into Kohberger, left the message on a machine, and they went and said, okay, woo, wow, this guy was a doctoral student, etc. That makes sense. He does drive a white Elantra. We do have a DNA profile that's unknown on the knife sheath. Let's go collect the trash out of the garbage can. Then they collect the trash out of the garbage can. It turns out it's using CODIS. They put it in there, and they're able to generate or figure out that the profile is a 99.99998% chance of being the biological father. And then that, along with the description, the photograph of Kohberger with the bushy eyebrows, Dylan Mortensen mentioning bushy eyebrows, the white Elantra, his phone pinging around Pullman, Washington, and then the phone arriving back in Pullman, Washington at like 5:40 in the morning, 5:35, showing up there. That was enough to get a warrant for the arrest of Kohberger. And then once Kohberger was arrested, Brian Kohberger, they swabbed his mouth and compared it to the unknown DNA profile from the knife sheath, also in CODIS at the time, and it was a 100% match. Every single marker matched, and it was 1 in 5.37 octillion to 1. I don't think I could explain it any better than that. There it is. And that's why the IgG is not part of the probable cause document. It was merely used to generate a lead, and then law enforcement went out and proved it the traditional way. Can I get an amen? Hey, thanks, Maxine. Very kind, very kind. Hey, I got a few coffees in here. And one from Margarita. And Thomas earlier. Very cool. Does that make sense to everybody? So when you hear people bitching and moaning, you guys have the answer now. And you know why? Because you hung out here and listened for a few extra minutes. I know it's kind of dull, but if you just sort of look at it and really know how it works, because we've had Dr. Colleen Fitzpatrick on. She's a beneficiary, Identifiers International, of the almost $100,000 that we've given them for identifying Jane and John Does. We've identified a serial killer victim. Daniel Armentrout's probably, go look that one up. Type in this one, Daniel Armentrout and the New York Post. And you'll see, well, let me see if I can do it right now. I haven't seen that for a long time, but I think it was New York Post, Daniel Armentrout. There it is. Look at that, 1961. By the way, that's the dumbest picture in the world. He didn't look like that at all. That's just the most ridiculously shitty picture I've ever seen. Thanks, Deborah. And so this was back in 2021. Let's see. Let me see if our name's in here. Now look at it, right there. Look at that. The money to embark on the inquiry had been raised predominantly by viewers of the YouTube channel Grant Hughes Investigates, who had set up a forensic genealogy fund for use by identifiers. And we still put the money in there, but there you go. Check it out. Grant Hughes Investigates formally announced Armentrout's identity on Sunday. Now Identifiers International hopes to locate his still missing eldest brother. And they did. He actually showed up to the small little town, and they had a ceremony, and they dedicated, they put a gravestone over him, and really cool story. I'll put this in the chat if you want to go check it out at some time later. What time is it in the show here? We are at hour, let's see, what is it? about 2 hours in, you'll see this link come in there. And there it is. You can check it out. You can see some of the cool crap that we've done over here. I mean, it's so awesome, but these people just don't give a shit. They want to tear down your channel because they don't do it. Sucks. Anyways, I have a lot of hate. There's even hate channels. There's hate groups out there just for me. You know, they spend all their days just hating and hating and hating. It's wild. Hey, thanks up there to Deborah Troet and who knows? Who knows? Let's see what it says here. The state now seeks a protective order for information related to the use of IgG in this case. So they don't want, it has nothing to do with the probable cause document. So why does the defense team get a look at it? What difference does it make? What are you going to get out of that? The lead led to Kohberger, who matched the sheath. So what difference does it make about the genealogy and the relatives and all that stuff? I think it should be protected. Yeah, I mean, the rest just keeps going on about the different laws and different parts of this case. Yeah, I mean, I think this is an example case here that was pretty interesting. But anyways, that's it for that. Now, why don't you guys just ask some questions? Super chats get preferential answers. All right, because we're still not at the goal yet, but we're getting there. If we get 60 more, I'll donate 5 memberships also. So we're at 10. I'll add 5 more. YouTube is weird. I watch Gray, but not long ago I started getting recommendation videos from a hate channel. Yeah, right. I don't have tactics movies on my thumbnails. I'm just trying my new thumbnails I think are better than my old ones. But yeah, there's a channel out there that just, that's all they do. Like anything if I say, like during the show, if I say something like, man, you guys, let's get that support up, they hate that shit. They just go, oh my God, oh that great guy, hey, look at it, he's trying to do. And it's like, I don't know of another way that I can make happen what we've been doing without the support. So thank you, Matthew Price. Hey, Gray, my daughter says thank you for the call out. Here's another super chat. Oh, wow.
Here's another super chat. You rock. Keep up the good work. Can you give me your theory on why Bethany is being so quiet / does she hold the key?
I can't remember. Is Bethany the one that the defense wanted to talk to or something? I don't know. I think Bethany wasn't in a position to... Well, there's some people say Bethany Funk saw a naked person getting dressed. That's just a total rumor. Never seen it in any documents. Never seen it anywhere. It's just... People say that, and maybe it's true, and if it is true, maybe she... there was somebody that theorized the other day, and at first I thought, I don't know about that. But, when I thought about it later, I actually brought it up again. And I think it's good to use this right here. So see this? I always thought that he parked back here. But what if he pulls up right into this area, right? And then he looks through, and you can see in the window that it's off. But then, after it's go time, he pulls up, let's say... I gotta see if I can get this to move because it takes a while for it to kick back in. But let's say you parked right there, a little farther down, and I want to try to get there. There you go. Look. So now it'll move. It just takes a minute to load up. So what if you parked right here, and then you just walked, and this fence wasn't there. Keep in mind, right? So you just have to barely walk, go around the corner, and you're in there. And then your car is right there, facing out. I mean, generally, this car is just here because this is like they're tearing this down the next day, and we're just all hanging out. But Bethany Funk's room is right here, so I mean, hell, what if the car was even right there and she looks out her window and sees him dressing right there? Wouldn't that be crazy? Man, if that's part of the story, that would be absolutely amazing. But so let's just say if I move a little bit further, right where this car is. Now look, that's the living room. Let me back up just a little bit, go a little bit more. Guess I'll have to go like that. So that's Bethany Funk's window right there. So if you were just right there where that car was, you might be able to look out and see somebody doing something like that. Wouldn't that be interesting? And then yeah, I guess that answers your question. But Bethany Funk, however, also had the worst audio of anybody. Because if you look at this one and you go back, I mean, when I say audio, meaning she couldn't hear as much. So here's the front door of the house that we were just looking at. And that's her room. And where I was just talking about a minute ago, that car would be parked right over there. Right, that's that window right there, right? But right above here is the living room. So it's not like she has direct flooring or walls, because this right now we're above Bethany Funk's room. And look, this is where Xana's room is, way down here, so you might not hear very well there. And then, so again, we're right above Bethany's room right here. And then Dylan's room's right here. So Dylan's room now is right below Madison Mogan's room. So we're going to go up the stairs outside of Dylan's room. First we go into Kaylee's room, then go out. And then right now we're in Madison Mogan's room, which is right above Dylan Mortenson's room. So this is Madison Mogan's room. And right back there is where I originally have the vehicle parked. Just right out there, looking right into Madison's room. And then there's that window that goes out to the parking. That's the middle window of the house from the parking area. The regular right in the front of the house. And they mentioned it specifically that there was this bathroom here, and that might be why you can't hear the attack of Madison and Kaylee on the camera, because of the wall between them. Because look, they're right against this wall, and then there's a bathroom here, and so that would block the sound going through. Where if it like in here, let's go back all the way to so this is Xana's room. So look, there's a window right there, and that window goes right outside. And I'll show you where that is. See, that's that window right there. That's Xana's room window. And then if you just kind of go around the corner here, that's kind of far away. Let me go back to here. Right there. See, look, right around the front of that's the wall of Xana's room right there. And the camera was right here that picked up the audio of the dog barking and the thud sound, etc. Alright, there you go. Alright, you guys, 40 more and we'll give away 5 memberships. Alright. Let's see. Buck stops here, I get. Buck stops here, I get it. What does that mean? So any other questions, you guys? How did that go for you guys? For the people in here that didn't really know the DNA stuff very well, how do you feel about it now? Don't you feel pretty good? Like, oh wow, I get it. You know, it was just a lead, the genealogy, and then they used traditional methods after the lead came in to determine that Brian Kohberger was the contributor, and genealogy wasn't used in that portion. It was used to generate a lead by a genetic informant. That was awesome. That's a perfect term. You had a question, but now your brain forgot it. I'm not sure who you are. Buck stops here. Who's insulting who? You just said Buck stops here. I get it. I don't know who you're talking about? Oh, that's your name? Oh, okay. I thought that person was... They didn't type in at buck stops here. I thought they were just saying buck stops here. I get it. I didn't know who they were talking to. If you're going to be a whiner, buck stops here, I'm going to get rid of you. It's pretty obvious that I just didn't know what the hell he was... If you put an at symbol, I know he's tagging somebody, but I don't do whiners. Let's see. Looks to be pretty accurate. Do you think a Frank's hearing will be granted? No, I don't. I don't think a Frank's hearing will be granted at all. I don't see how it could be. Like, what would be the purpose? So the Franks, all the stuff that they're claiming, we went over on a whole show. It's just so, there was 13 points that she brought up, and they were just ludicrous, embarrassing. It's almost like she's just doing a little bit like Kohberger, I mean not Kohberger, Richard Allen's attorneys, trying everything, the Frank's hearing, because they know they're screwed, and so they just try to do all their due diligence, see what can stick on a wall. And I think what it's really coming down to is there's going to be a reckoning moment where Kohberger is going to try to either save his life or go for it. And now his attitude makes you believe that he's going to try to, get off. But I think the prosecution, I've heard from, rumblings from family members that prosecution has said, we've got this, don't worry about it. Like there's they've got other stuff that's just going to be so obvious, and you're never going to hear that from the defense team. So what the defense team is trying to do is get everything thrown out so that the information, they're trying to get it so that everything from the original warrant gets thrown out, and that would probably include a lot of the stuff that we don't know about yet. And it's just not going to happen. It's not going to happen at all. Yes, the FBI, which wasn't mentioned in this document, they used, let's see, MyHeritage, which is sort of a hybrid site. Because you know how Ancestry and 23andMe are these huge sites where they, you upload your DNA and you can download your raw data. But they don't allow you to upload raw data there. They don't let you do that at either of those sites. And then you have places like GEDmatch. That's all they do is allow you to upload raw data. But then you have MyHeritage, which has both. They allow you to upload your raw data, and you can just use it like you submit your DNA. But they have a law that but law enforcement can't use it. It's not a law, it's just a, what do you call it? That was a bad word to use. It's a policy. Their policy is that law enforcement can't use it. Right? Is this guy still complaining again? Jesus. Never ends. And so what they did was they took Kohberger's DNA, created the raw data using, one of the bioinformatics, or maybe they have their own in-house one, and then they uploaded it to MyHeritage. And they have millions of people in their database, and that's how they were able to figure out that the lead goes back to Kohberger. That was just a lead they gave somebody. Then those people go out and try to verify it. Does that make sense? Yeah, I'm not sure what is Buck Stops here arguing about. I don't know what's going on. I was only responding to somebody who didn't tag him, and I thought that person was actually typing in the Buck Stops here. That's it. I don't know anything about what you guys are talking about, but I don't want to deal with the crying and the whining. I just don't know what's going on. All right, you guys, we're still 40 short of the 5 memberships. And I don't know if I also said, but if you send 30 into my PayPal, you get the notebook, the stress ball, the pen, and a poker chip with GHI on it. Okay? I mean, what's better than that? You can use it as a golf marker. I use it. I give it to all my friends. Look at it. Kame said, can I get 7 more people to join me to get to the 40? I guess it's possible, Kame. It is possible. Let's do a poll here. I know I have some people that like currently I'm into the Kohberger case again, so it's interesting for me, but there's people that just don't, oh man, great, I don't want to talk about Kohberger, but I like talking about it because I like trying to make people realize that it's just, I've been doing this a long time, and I know the stuff that's real and makes sense, and there's just so many people it makes you scared about a jury, that there's so many people that are irrational thinkers who think everything is reasonable. Because here, the truth is, it's not reasonable to believe that the white vehicle driving around that was identified as a white Elantra by police, it's not reasonable to believe that it isn't Kohberger's. So it's not reasonable to believe that it isn't his, because his DNA was found in the house on a knife sheath extremely likely associated with the homicides, the killings. All right. So then it's not reasonable to believe that the white Elantra driving around wasn't his when it actually parked right outside the house for the 12 minutes that the murders happened. Okay. So that's all I'm saying is if you just use that common sense, it's all that matters. Oh yeah, I don't even know what the poll question was that I was going to ask. So where are the other 7 people that are joining in with K-Me? Leaves no reasonable doubt. Right. Well, a lot of people think something is reasonable that isn't, though. That's the scary part. See, when you're in these Facebook groups and you're commenting all over the place, you see these comments and they're not reasonable the way they're presented. And what they're saying isn't reasonable. It's like they think if something is possible, it's reasonable. And that's not the way it works. Just because something is technically possible, because there could have been 12 Elantras driving around that night. It's possible, right? You can't tell me it isn't. It's 1 in a trillion, but let's see. I guess I can't remember what the. Why don't you tell me what you guys want in the poll question? Thanks, Cheryl Moran. All right, thank you. I'm glad you love this channel. It's amazing that there are people that really like my channel, and then there's the absolute haters out there. And really, it kind of stems from, there was a moderator here one time, and she wanted to moderate on a different true crime YouTube channel the same time that my channels are going. And I said, well, you can either choose my channel or be on theirs. And she chose to be on that one. So I removed her as a moderator. And then from that day forward, she's turned into an absolute psycho, showing up on live streams whenever I show up and trashing, and started all these little hate groups and etc. And I don't really have any way to, I sent her a cease and desist letter. Doesn't really do any good, she just keeps going and going and going, and yeah, it just sucks. Anyways, hey, thanks, Naomi, appreciate it. Let's see. It's weird how you get the moderator scorned. Pretty strange, Hey, thanks Matthew Price. Let's go. Thanks Gray. Thanks again, Gray. Just did 18 today. Hit him straight. Oh, cool. Excellent. You know, my problem was I hurt my back right before I went to... Have you heard of Abandoned Dunes? So this is our 20-something years straight we went there, but my back, I hurt my back picking up a dog. It was just the stupidest thing. So I went anyways, and now I'm still, like, it's just not quite back to normal again. It's crazy. I have to keep, like, I don't know, it just sucks. It's my lower left back side. I did walk 3 miles today, but at the same time, it's like, yeah. Entertaining every thought that crosses their mind. So what's the question? What do you guys want me to put in the poll? I had one in my head and then I forgot it. The moderator. Yeah, there it is. Lisa Valenzuela. The moderator scorned. Turn in next Tuesday and watch the psycho at work. No matter where Gray goes, they show up. Hiding behind a false... Yeah, let's see. Hey, there's GSU PM. They quit counting on you, man. Or, I don't know if you're a woman. I don't even know if you're a female or a male. GSU. Thank you, Kathy Shiflett. Hey, right now we're 20 away from the 5 memberships, you guys. You almost did it. You almost did it. How about this? Did Kohberger leave the knife sheath given his DNA is on the snap? This is going to be 80-20 because 20% of the people are irrational. All right, so here we go. Let's see. Hey, we got Moofies. Oh, and there's GSU PM. Boom. Look at that. At the buzzer. All right, here we go. So make your guys self-available for memberships. There we go. I made that animation, by the way. I thought that was a pretty good one. That was like a pretty good... See, look at that, 85%. You see what I'm saying, you guys? You just can't help these people. So somebody else, see, these people believe it's a conspiracy, that somehow some other person left it there. It wasn't Kohberger. So somehow Kohberger's touched the snap of the knife sheath of a weapon that killed 4 people in a house, but he didn't leave it there. Somehow his DNA got on there, and then they brought it there, and then the car driving around is just some other random, it has nothing to do with anything. It's just... each night. I would like to discuss this each night. Yes. Discuss what? Right. I mean, the problem is, yeah, I like discussing this case, but there's people, you know, I like all of true crime. I just haven't found anything lately that makes me go, ooh, I gotta do that. You know, Asha Degree was really interesting. That new information that came out a few months back, and apparently they've just had some more warrants come out that have more damning information. So I want to get that information, then maybe we'll put that all together too. I was hoping to win a membership. Did you make yourself available, Matthew? Yeah, we're all rich now. Pretty soon we're going to hear that say we're all Kohberger. Here we go. It's going to be...
We're all through!
We're all Brian Kohberger!
You piece of shit got to the jury, didn't you?
Maybe if the father wouldn't have given his DNA, they wouldn't have caught him. But he didn't, though, Kathy. That's the great part. See, none of their family were in these databases.
Given his DNA, they wouldn't have caught him.
Yeah, his father never gave the DNA. Isn't that amazing? They just collected the trash. So here's how it worked again. Here, listen to this. They had the DNA on the knife sheath, an unknown DNA sample. IgG led to the name Kohberger. That was it. Then after other investigation, etc., they decided to go out and collect trash at the house that Kohberger was staying at. And out of the trash, they got the biological father of the killer. And they know that Kohberger was a student at WSU, and they probably also knew that it was a male contributor based on the DNA. So they had made an arrest warrant, arrested Kohberger, and then they swabbed him, and then it was a match 100%, but his father never gave his DNA either. Isn't that interesting? So they were able to just determine all of it just by... I mean, they probably hoped to get the exact match out of the garbage can, but as we know, Kohberger was separating his trash into different Ziploc bags and then put the trash into the neighbor's garbage can. How about that, Kathy Shiflett? I mean, if it wasn't... it wasn't in the database. That's the thing.
I mean, if it wasn't in the databases.
Yeah. Well, it wasn't. That's the cool part, is his DNA was not in... Like, I don't think his name came... I don't know if his name came back. It was just genetic genealogy, so they come up with all kinds of cousins and relatives, and they determined based on what their tree that it came back to the Kohberger family. I don't know if... like, the father's DNA wasn't found because he was in a database. They just had a lead to Kohberger, collected the trash, and then put the unknown DNA from the trash into CODIS, and it turns out that DNA was the biological father of the unknown DNA from the knife sheath. Does that make sense? And then now they know that that's Kohberger's, I guess you could just, at that point, you'd realize, I mean, it's the father of Kohberger, and that was enough to get the DNA, warrant to get his DNA, and then it matched. I think I'm following you, right? Maybe I'm not. I don't know. Well, he had the white car, lived close, bushy eyebrows. Yeah, I mean all that stuff, Cindy. So like that's the whole thing. Is after they got the name Kohberger, you just look at it like this. Okay. Now they found that he has a white Elantra, and 2 different officers back in November had already put his name into a system because they'd seen it. And then they look at his driver's license picture, and he has bushy eyebrows, and his physical structure is similar to what Dylan Mortensen stated. So you've got that. He drives the white Elantra. He's a criminology student. So all these little pieces are kind of coming together. And so then they followed him and they watched him and saw what he was doing. And so then they decided, well, let's just collect some trash that we don't need a warrant for it, as long as it's, in this case it was picked up by the trash collector, given to the cops, and then the DNA in the trash can led to the biological, it's an unknown person still, but it's the biological father of the contributor to the DNA on the knife sheath, who was also unknown at the time, but just based on common sense, it's the biological father of, they believe Kohberger lives there, so it's going to be the father of Kohberger. And so then they get the arrest warrant, and do a DNA test on him, and boom, there it is. What do you think of that? Isn't that insane, Kathy? Anyways, thank you very much. Appreciate it. Oh, they exhibited in court, Gigi. They're just gonna walk in the door and there they are. You know, it's what was the thing we were gonna do? Get a skeleton and put bushy eyebrows on it, because that's what Kohberger's turning into, a living skeleton. He's a skeleton with bushy eyebrows, basically. Yeah, cool. No, I appreciate it. Well, the thing is, you have to click on, hey, Matthew, you got to click on the gift up there and then make yourself available for gifting. That's how it works. We can't pick who gets the gifts. Doesn't that suck? Like I would say, shit, give Matthew one, right? Like, see that gift right there by K-Me? It got given to Case Cracked for the 100th time. Okay, but we don't get to choose who gets it, unfortunately. That's just YouTube just kind of looks at a list that made themselves available and they give it to them. Yeah, everything points in Kohberger's direction. That's right. Yeah, earlier when somebody said buck stops here, I thought they were literally just saying the phrase, the buck stops here. I didn't know they were talking to somebody because they didn't use the @ symbol. When you're trying to talk to somebody, you type in @ and then the name. I can understand why you get so frustrated. I cannot believe how ridiculously dumb some of the comments are. People now believe what they want to believe. It's like they make their own reality. Yep, that's exactly the way it is. As you can tell, I'm just using the exact information that law enforcement and has provided. It's in the probable cause document. You know, maybe there's some other information that'll be presented at trial. It all makes sense to me, though. Did you do it up there, Matthew Price? Did you make yourself available? But we don't get to choose, unfortunately. Maybe the freaks will try to get you, if you say that you've made yourself available, they'll try to make it happen. Let's see, he's losing weight. The vegan food in jail must be a lot to be desired. I'm still over here fascinated that it had been understanding this whole DNA IgG process so incorrectly. Oh, cool. So now you get it now? Yeah, it's cool. It's a neat thing to get, because when Dr. Colleen she used to explain it to us so many times. After a while, I got to the point where I could explain it to people. I mean, she obviously visualizes the DNA and each little element, what they're called, better than I do. We had CODIS. I think at one point CODIS had 12 markers. Now they use 20, so it's even more specific, and the odds are even greater when there's a full match. Like, wow, you're getting into the octillions. And I think that there should be an initiative put together that every single criminal that is in prison currently and already has to have their DNA into CODIS, that they have to then we upload it to GEDmatch, and it's for law enforcement use only, their profiles. Maybe not. Maybe it can be for anybody. But they can use it. So they're opted in every single time, and the It would also be, you know, a huge diversity too of different racial components all around the country. You'd have just this massive database in each state, all uploaded to GEDmatch for law enforcement use, and it would be absolutely incredible. You'd have millions of people in there, and you'd just be solving cases left and right. That's what I hope happens someday. Okay, did you get are you available for being gifted memberships, Matthew Price? Because we can't give them away to anybody. We can't choose who to give them to. YouTube does it randomly. Oh yeah, and you got to be on. Oh yeah, I'm on top chat. That's not right. Live chat is what you want to be on. So look at that, you guys. 24% of the people literally believe that Kohberger didn't leave the knife sheath there. That it was somebody else. Isn't that sad? It's scary almost, right? So that means we have 200 out of 89 votes. There are 20 people that literally think that way. Yeah, that's usually the troll count, though. You know, that's the percentage of trolls that show up. So and that's why it went up just now a little bit. Oh, you just hit the $sign button there, or you can do one of these. Watch this. If you go to my coffee, YouTube doesn't take as big a percentage on that. I think it works. There it is right there. Look at that. You could try that one. Aliens must have left there, or Bigfoot. God, it's just mind-boggling. They come up with so many stories. There's like the campus security. They're just doing loops, looking around. So it's campus security. It's not white Elantra or anything like that. Then there was a guy named Brett Kopaka. He's a government official, so a government person. So they what they did was they planted the DNA from Kohberger so that their guy wouldn't be accused of that, even though he's not alive anymore. So they went and it just goes on and on and on and on. And it's amazing how there's YouTubers that are able to sell it so well that people actually believe it. They walk around believing that stuff. All right, anybody have a new question to ask up here? Yeah, you can just buy a membership. Yeah, just get that one. Right, sure. Yeah, I mean, I was just saying if you wanted to get a free one, you deserve a free one. But, you might not get it. But, yeah, you can just buy one. They're $1.99 a month for the lowest level. But if you wanted to get one gifted, you have to be available for gifting. Mm-hmm. When I answered, I thought okay, maybe I worded it bad. So give me another question to ask up here. Okay, well, how about this? Well, I know what I was going to ask. Hold on. Given what we know in the case, is it reasonable to believe the white Elantra isn't his? Let's see. I'm going to word it differently. Is it reasonable to believe the white vehicle doing loops isn't his? Wow. That was like I had one more character left. All right, that's probably a better way, because then they'll go, how do we know it's a white Elantra gray? Right. Well, the reason we know it's a white Elantra is because you might have believed it was this other white type of vehicle. However, we know it's a white Elantra because Kohberger drives one of those, and inside of the 12 minutes that white vehicle stopped was when the murders happened, and a knife sheath was left with Kohberger's DNA on it in that time frame. Hey, look at that. Cheryl Moran became an Oogla Boogla freak. Sunset Rising. Welcome to Freaks 101. Well, thanks you guys for like having a recovery at the end of the show. It seemed like the beginning was just like, whew, gonna be another. Yeah, remember that? Kanika Jenkins? Lanky Tor loves my Jodi Arias stuff. I never use my own voice. I almost feel like I should master those things or something. It was funny. Hey, look at that. Matthew Price became an Oogla Boogla freak. Very kind, very kind. Thank you. Given what we know in this case, is it reasonable to believe the white vehicle doing loops isn't his? Right. I might be hard to answer the way I word things, but... Right. Alright, so we got 42 votes in. We'll just call that 80%. Alright. And what's the next one? I just think it's hilarious. I mean, Ann Taylor herself said that at 3:29 a camera picks up the vehicle and it is the vehicle. But the other ones, you can't make it out, so how can you claim it's his? But now you're saying that it is his right there. I mean, look how, you know what's amazing about it, you guys, is like, that's why I was so pumped when I heard her, when I re-listened to that again, and I heard her saying that. Because look at it. 3:28 and some odd seconds, it passes right here. 3:29, a camera on, I think it's this building right here, films it driving like this. Then 3:29 and 46 seconds, this camera picks it up driving here. And then at 3:31, this camera here picks up the vehicle driving around back there. That's why it'd be great to have all of those shots. I wish I could work for the state or something, and they go, hey, yeah, we could use your help, and I put together like an animation with the time frames. Like, what I would do is an overhead shot like this, and then I would use this car driving around, and I'm not sure if I would make this small, or I think I would show this and then a video and then a back and forth. So I'd have a car driving right here, and then I'd stop the video, and I'd say, now look, this camera films it driving by, and I'd cut right over to the car driving by. Then I would pick up back on here again with the vehicle driving right here, right? And it'd be driving like this, and I have a clock ticking away the whole time on the screen. And then right when it gets here, I'd switch over to this camera, and it'd be 3:29 and 43, 44 as it's driving by, boom. Then I'd come back out for a wide shot, show the vehicle driving like this, coming around. Then I'll use the 1112 King Road, filming the car coming into the area, driving by. Then I'd show so whenever it's not on camera, I'm showing it on the map. That's how I would do it. And I would just cut back and forth, and there'd be zero confusion by the jury, and they'd be, oh my God, this is it. Hey, thanks, Lanky Tor, the legend. How's it going? And how is everything going? You sort of disappeared for a month or so there. Everything okay over there? We need to keep the great channel happening. Yeah, that's right. And we had it was weird. We struggled, and then we had a good 5-6 days in a row, and then yesterday just was weird. It was kind of a strange thing. And then today we're back to a decent day again. That's good. Not sure what happened yesterday, but yeah, I guess every day can't be perfect. Don't you think that would be amazing to have that in court? So when I would just go like this. I would have it right here. And matter of fact, I might even start over here on Indian, right there. When it's driving right there, I would show this camera filming it driving by. And then any other camera, whenever it picks it up, you show that footage. But then when it's not on camera, you just have a vehicle moving along. And it's their theory, so they can do whatever they want in this. It's driving along, and it comes around like this, and it comes through this intersection, and then we get the camera footage from A&W. They stop on this one, though. They'll pause it and go, now look, you see right there, it appears that the front license plate is missing. Now let's quickly go look at this footage from well, they might have already shown the traffic stop at another time, and then they might say, remember the traffic stop. Or, you know, I don't know how they would present this, but it drives by the A&W right there. And then when it's right here, this camera picked it up, and that's apparently the one that can identify the vehicle. And then it comes around this corner. And then after you can't see it anymore on the camera, you then cut out to the map and have a 3D car driving on it. And that's what I'm talking about the whole time here. And then right here, just as you see the lights on this camera, you switch over to the actual surveillance footage filming the car driving, and then a vehicle going like this. And I'm probably going to make this anyways, just using what we have. Again, I'm going to retry to do this because now I think it's all different. I used to think it just kept doing the same loop, but now it's like it comes back here, goes out, comes around this direction, goes in, comes out, goes around, you know. So there's stuff like that. And then it goes over here and then comes back this way. But I think the way to present it like that, it's absolutely unambiguous. Like you're just totally, it makes sense. How do you become a mod? Well, you know, you have to be here a long time and show that you like being here and you're hanging out and, you know, loyal to the channel, basically. You know, like I've never even seen you in my life. Well, my. So it'd be weird to make you one. Yeah. It doesn't just and there's people that have been here a long time that aren't mods. You know, because it's like how many mods are you gonna have? 400 of them. You know, there's people. I have like 20 or something. And like there's some people that have been here a long time and are loyal, and you know, maybe there'll be mods someday too if somebody leaves or something. But you know, yeah, you know, people like K-Me's been here a long time, and yeah, Lanky Tor's been here the longest. I think Lanky Tor, maybe Zozo's been here a long time too. I guess she's burnt out on the Kohberger stuff, but she's actually never really been that interested in the case. So I get it, but I've always been interested in it. I think it's really interesting to me. So, yeah, True Sleuth always claims that they would be here the longest, except they got mad one time and undid something, membership. Yeah, I think the Delphi one, I try to do about the same as I do on this one. You know, mapping. And whenever I get a probable cause document that has actual information in it, that's when I do my best work. Where I put it together where it's like, okay, see what they're saying here? Now, sometimes things change, for sure. Yeah. I think I could have sold the Richard Allen as bridge guy pretty well. If I was, I would have made an animation of it if I was in the Delphi trial. 28 months, but lurked for over 6 months prior to becoming a member. Well, you don't have to be a member to comment, Moothies. So you didn't have to lurk those 6 months. Let's see, I haven't been feeling well lately, but this is a place I believe in. Just, what do you got, the flu or cold or something, or what? Huh? Oh. Okay. Let's see. Amazing throughout the years. Yeah. Sometimes it does get hard dealing with all the trolls. They kind of drain your soul away. You know? I guess one of the things I don't like the most, you know, when I'm on Court TV, I've been on Court TV probably, I don't know, 15 times or so. And every time I'm done on Court TV, I say the exact same stuff I say here, the same logic, reason, and a lot of people like it. However, the troll communities, they all sort of hear about me being on the show en masse, and then in the comments section, I mean, they just go wild, like wild animals. I mean, they say the most horrendous things ever, and then there's people that read that, and then they're probably less likely to come over to my channel, etc., and it really just it's depressing, you know. I wish they'd make me a moderator over there, and then I'd go in and just clean up the entire comment section after every time I'm on. I would just absolutely wipe them all out and get rid of them all, delete, block every single one of them. Yeah, it wouldn't even affect their channel at all. Yeah, it's just it gets really depressing, you know. And it's weird too, because we just had that guy, you know, the captain, you know, where he got really depressed and, you know, did the murder-suicide thing that we just talked about. You know, it's just sometimes you just, when they're all trashing you like that, you can see how somebody would feel like that. Like sometimes you just feel so down, you know, and then you come on and do a show, and hopefully things are better, you know. So there's sometimes where it's just so depressing, you know. Yeah. Well, it's cool, but I mean, you know, what would be really great is if people would go over there and battle and just absolutely contradict those idiots. I mean, it's unreal, but a lot of times, I'm the only one that's over there going, hey, you know, Jesus. I don't know why I waste my time. I just hope somebody wakes up or something, but it just doesn't happen, you know. All right, any other questions or poll questions anybody wants to do? Let's see. I don't want to click on the hater videos. No, it's not. It's on. It's not a hater video. It's on. When I'm on Court TV, you know, when they put the video out after I'm on there, then the next day they put the video out of the episode. They just show up in the comment sections and just absolutely every single comment after a while. Why do you have that Gray Hughes guy on? He's so full of crap, man. I'm never watching you guys again if you put Gray on there. And they just keep going and going and going. Amazingly, it doesn't affect Court TV at all. They just say, yeah, Gray, we love that. We love having you on. And they check in and see if I want to come on various cases, but some I don't know, so I don't really want to just pretend I know something. I don't like being a talking head where I can just sort of generally talk about concepts in a case. if I'm going to be on Court TV, I want to know the topic that I'm on, likely better than other people that are on there, and so then I'll know it. And there's times where I'm on there where I hear factually incorrect information, and I've actually corrected it on the show, but I don't know if people get mad at that or what, but it's like, I can't do it. I can't allow it to go forward and become what people actually believe is true. Yeah, it's just, why isn't the DNA either all or nothing? Why is it probability? Just because it's math, Tim. Like I was saying a minute ago when I was doing it, it's to a virtual certainty, right? Like if you're mathematically, it's 1 in 5.37 octillion to 1. Well, I mean, Earth only has 8 billion people on it. So it's a virtual, but unbelievably, there's people that go, okay, so that's reasonable to believe that there could be one other person out there somewhere in the universe. And would go, not guilty, it's reasonable. No, it's not. What are you talking about, buck stops here? What's wrong with you? You seem totally normal a few minutes ago. We were just talking normally again, and now you're crying and whining again. I don't think you're going to last here. I'm sorry. I just don't have time for that. It's, I haven't said anything rude to you at all. Nobody was rude to you either. Your name showed up in a comment that I thought was actually that person saying the buck stops here, which I go, hey, cool. But they weren't. And then you started arguing with somebody else, and I don't know what the hell you were arguing about. And now you're complaining again. It almost seems like you weren't getting enough attention, so you thought you'd throw that in there. It almost feels like one of the people that used to come here all the time, LM. You're sort of reminding me of that a little bit. Yeah, I mean, the thing is they kind of have to do that on Court TV. But when I come on, at least I'm the voice of the other side. And a lot of times he'll give me extra time, like he'll work, I think he likes that I do that, but they've got to, I think Court TV generally has to go with the flow of what more people are believing in, because it's a channel on television that needs ad revenue and stuff like that. Geez, can you just block that person now? That's what I'm talking about. They were a troll from the get-go. They were never here legitimately. I can tell now. I haven't said a damn thing. You speak out and actually threaten. Oh, jeez, we got more trolls again. Jeez. See what I'm talking about, you guys? Wait, let's see. Gray Hughes. Okay, hold on. I think you accidentally deleted that one. Let me read it. Gray Hughes, you speak out and actually threaten their reality that isn't real. It's like an alcoholic that is in denial. They get mad when you challenge the truth. Oh, thank you. So that comment by Stealthy shouldn't have been removed, but I can still read it, and thank you. I think that's exactly right. I totally agree with you. I think that's 100% the reality right there. Well, thanks, Laura Hope. I love you guys too. You guys are awesome. You know, some nights I get frustrated and just like, I don't know. I just wanted to get back where there's really big cases, and I'm one of the people that knows what's going on and covering it, and that's when the channel does really well, and that's when I can make a lot of big difference at the end of the month for various. I think the best month I ever had in terms of giving away my own income was I think I gave away $10,000. It was during the first Idaho 4-month, I think. It was just, or it might have been Kylie Rodney, and then Idaho. Wasn't Idaho and Kylie Rodney at the same time or something? It was crazy. It was just one after another, big nights and ad revenue. So when you have big cases like that, and you put a video out, you might get 80,000 views. And those videos, you get 80,000 views, you might make $700 or something on a video like that, or 800, right? It's not as anywhere near what you guys think people make, you know. When you get millions of views, yes, those are the ones. Those are the really rich people on YouTube when they get, you know, hundreds of thousands of views per video every single time. And I get like, you know, 4,000 on a video, 8 on another one, maybe 10. But on the big cases, sometimes I get 40, 50, 70,000. And then when you do your shows, you can bring in good revenue, and then that's when I can, you know, really go out and, you know, send 2,000 to Texas Equisearch, 2,000 to RAIN, 3,000 to our DNA fund, 1,000 to our scholarship fund. If you know, just it's cool. But last month was, you know, I still did 1,500, but it just really was, you know, went down a little bit. But you know, I guess you can't have perfect months all the time. And oh yeah. I think Lanky Tor was around when I was doing Jodi Arias. That was my first big case that I covered. I made an entire 3D model of the entire upstairs bedroom and bathroom. Looks totally real. Even had the characters moving around in there. Unfortunately, it was weird too because HLN was around and they should have used, I think in today's world they would have used my work. But back then they didn't really have the means to do it. You didn't do the streaming of people. I don't think he had court today, did he? What made you think he had court today? I didn't hear he did. No. I mean, I looked. I remember talking about Pistorius a long time ago, but it's already been all done and everything. 100 times. I think I even had the layout of the house. Hey, look at it. It's My Father's Alibi. I started working on it again last week and then got busy with the Kohberger stuff again, but still plugging away on the full video. Thank you. The Galvani case, or Galvani. Did you say a Galvani? Not Vanny. It's got to be Nancy Galvani. In basically San Francisco area. Back in what year was that? 81 or something. Not sure if I have it sitting here. '82. There it is. I see it. I got the newspaper articles. August. Let's see, there's the 10th, 11th, 12th. I got the newspaper articles from. Well, I have it all. I have it in my video. It's hard to go back over it again. Yeah. Let's see. You guys want to, maybe we can watch the part that we have done so far. Maybe I'll open it up. Let's see. You guys want to watch what I have so far on that? That case is just so ridiculous, you know. It's so obvious. I mean, I'm just still working on it, but I've completed certain portions of it. All right, here we go. Here we go. So there's different voices and things. So far, it's about 7 minutes, and so that's her right there in the chat. My Father's Alibi. So here we go. You guys want to watch this or what? All right, here we go. Patrick Vincent Galvani and Nancy Wormbach were married on May 16, 1973. In 1976, Nancy gave birth to a daughter named Allison. She would turn out to be their only child. Their marriage eventually began to crumble. Nancy filed for divorce after incidents of physical violence. They temporarily were awarded joint custody while the divorce worked its way through the system. On August 8, 1982, Pat used their joint custody arrangement to lure Nancy to his residence. Nancy's body was found in San Francisco Bay the very next day. The medical examiner determined Nancy had been strangled to death and her partially nude body had been zipped inside her own sleeping bag. Her body had been weighed down with a 19.5-pound cinder block. In 1982, Nancy filed for divorce from her husband Patrick. She filed for divorce based in part because of physical abuse she suffered at the hands of Patrick. This abuse was documented by Nancy, Patrick, and their daughter Allison. First, let's take a look at two of the entries in Nancy's diaries.
He grabbed the book from me, became wild, and began beating me with the book. I tried to run away, but he kept hitting me in the face with the book, breaking my glasses. I ran to the bathroom where he kept coming at me saying no divorce, and wildly threw me into the bathtub, where I suffered bruises over my body. The last incidents of beating occurred in April when Pat beat me in front of Allison, causing her extreme distress. She insisted I sleep with her, and brought me Band-Aids for my scratches and bruises. This occurred in April 1982.
In the San Francisco Examiner on August 19, 1982, it states, in her application for the restraining order, Nancy Galvani claimed her husband assaulted her last April after she disciplined their 5-year-old daughter, Allison.
He became furious, threw me to the floor, and struck me with his fist, causing bruises and cuts. I tried to run away from him. He assaulted me again, and then when I started to scream, he put a pillow over my face and held it there for a period of time.
According to a San Francisco Examiner article from August 19, 1982, in a reply to Nancy's allegations, Patrick Galvani seems to confirm what she said by saying,
I put a pillow on her face to quiet her down and to deaden the noise for the neighbors. My wife then conked out.
And here is what Allison remembers of that incident.
So yeah, I heard my parents fighting, and I remember thinking like this is worse than normal, and I ran into my parents' bedroom. My mother was lying on the bed. My father was like straddling her. His knees were like pinning down her arms, and there's this large square Laura Ashley pillow, and he was pressing it over her face, and I was then begging him to stop doing that. He would lift up the pillow and then put it back down. When he would lift it up, I remember saying like, listen to your daughter. I was like begging him to stop. He did stop. And I think that was the final act of violence that she viewed, according to what she told her friends, as an attempted murder, that and that he would have murdered her if I hadn't been there.
Because of their joint custody agreement, Allison was staying with her father, Patrick Galvani, the weekend Nancy went missing. On Saturday, August 7, 1982, Patrick Galvani calls Nancy to tell her she needs to pick up Allison by 8 p.m. on August 8th, instead of the morning of August 9th as previously planned. Nancy writes in her journal in advance of things she was going to do. Nancy wrote,
Picked up Allison Sunday 8 p.m. instead of Monday 8:30 at his insistence. I asked if he could then drop her off at 8 p.m. as I had committed myself to service at a residence gathering, but he said, you want her, you always have to pick her up and drop her off. I never will.
Then on August 8th, Patrick Galvani. And by the way, is that word service, or what is that word? Is it serve? I wasn't sure about that. What's this word right here? Isn't that service, or is that like dinner or something? I don't know. Yeah, that is service, right? I mean, it looks like servivice to me. So hopefully I got that right. I don't know. But anyways, let's keep going.
I never will.
Then on August 8th, Patrick Galvani sent Allison to Patrick Moriarty's house to spend the night. Moriarty is Patrick Galvani's uncle. This is suspicious because Nancy was supposed to pick up Allison at Galvani's house that same evening. Now Allison will not be with Patrick Galvani when Nancy arrives.
I had spent very little time with my father that entire summer, and then he also didn't discuss with me like my mother normally would if I was going to a friend's house, like my age, like a peer, another 5-year-old's house. I just heard him on the phone arranging for me to spend the night Sunday night at his uncle's house. When he hung up the phone, I told him I didn't want to do that. It struck me as odd because I'd hardly seen him all summer. And even though he was fighting for custody of me, then for arranging me to spend the night somewhere else. And I pleaded with him not to send me to his uncle's house. And he said, as a compromise, I would go to his uncle's house just for a few hours, and I wouldn't have to spend the night. But then once he had me at Uncle Pat's house, it was getting darker and darker, and he wasn't coming to pick me up the way I expected he was. A telephone call came in. My Uncle Pat spoke to my father and then relayed to me when he hung up the phone, "Oh, your dad's car broke down. He can't get you today after all, so you have to spend the night." And I remember saying, like, well, can't he take a taxi to get me? And Uncle Pat said, "Oh no, he has to stay with the car to make sure the mechanics don't steal it."
The fact that Allison stayed with Patrick Moriarty on the night of the 8th is corroborated by an affidavit of Edward Schneiderman. The affidavit discusses a conversation between Schneiderman and Patrick Moriarty on or around May of 1985. Schneiderman states,
Mr. Moriarty informed me that Allison was with him at his apartment the night of Nancy's murder. He said he had been asked to babysit Allison by her father. Mr. Moriarty went on to say the San Francisco detectives became confused because Allison referred to her parents by first name, and when asked where she was the night of the murder, Allison replied she was with Pat. The investigator mistakenly assumed it meant Patrick Galvani, according to Mr. Moriarty. Mr. Moriarty added that if the police had realized Allison was in fact with him and not her father, their investigation would likely have not hit a dead end.
My father had requested that I call him Pat and also my uncle Pat, and so I didn't refer to my father as dad. I called my mom mommy, but I called my father Pat, and then the uncle was also Pat.
all right, so that's where I'm at now. That's pretty good, though, right, you guys? Come on. It's pretty good shit. That's like a mini documentary or something, right? All right. Well, there you go. Got other clips to add in there, but in this case, it's crazy. So, Patrick Galvani has Allison stay overnight at his uncle's house, who's also named Pat, the same night that he told his wife to come pick her up early, and he sent Allison away so that she wouldn't be there as a witness. And then there's also what I'll be coming up later is the vehicle that the mother drove was put in a... Well, you don't have to send that. Come on. Come on, my father's alibi. You don't have to do that. Anyways, thank you so much for that.
So grateful for this. Great.
Well, thank you. Jeez, that was very kind. But you don't have to, I mean, I know you don't have to do that, but... yeah, so it's crazy because it gets when the mother was wearing specific clothing when she went to pick up Allison, and that clothing, apparently there's clothing consistent with that was found in Patrick Galvani's house. Also, the vehicle that the mother drove was seen parked right in front of the house at exactly around the time she was supposed to be there. And then that same vehicle was found in the adjoining property that Patrick also owned in the garage. It was seen in there by one of the tenants of that place, and then it was moved back to the other house, I believe, after the police were there the first time, I think. I don't remember exactly the timing, but it's just crazy. This case is so obvious, you guys. It's one of the most obvious cases that there's ever been. And hopefully, when we're all done with this, we'll put it out there, and then everybody will just share it all over the place and put more pressure on these people. This thing is, God, it's just ridiculous. Unbelievable. I have never seen one more obvious that's not solved ever. And it seems like at some point, if you're a prosecutor, you just take the chance. You just do it, right? You just go out and you just, if he's found not guilty, by God, he's found not guilty. It doesn't mean he didn't do it. It just means he was found not guilty. But why not do it? You're going to let the guy live his whole life and die someday and never have to face justice? Just do the damn thing. And if and these prosecutors, I lost a case though, I didn't want to lose it. Shut the hell up, man. Just do what's right, okay? Yeah, that's basically it right there, what I just said, right? And so I guess that's the next part, but I got to put it together in like the wording, because remember you looked out your window and you saw the car pulling in or something, so you got to put all that in there. It'll be pretty sweet. Well, there you go. If people are willing to write to D.A. Morris, Maya, it would make a huge difference. Well, go ahead and type in the address in there. Put it in the chat, and then you guys can send emails, or it's just an email, right? Like put an email in there, and then people can send an email and say, hey, you guys really need to keep moving on this. Every time I go over it, though, it makes my juices flow again for the getting it done. It's like, God, what a... It's just... When you just listen to it, it's crazy. I guess I didn't put in the part about... at the beginning, did it mention that where her body was found or anything like that? I'm not sure if I even put that in there. I think I'd mentioned that, right? In the San Francisco Bay, or... I don't know. Did I mention that? Do you guys remember that in the video? Right. Anything to the effect of Nancy Galvani will deserve justice. Yeah, just type that in. Yeah, I don't remember saying that in there. Oh, wait. I think that comes up next, though. Because at this point, she's just missing. So then it's like, okay, and then her body shows up in the bay. She's inside of a sleeping bag, or I think that's what it was, that was in her trunk or something like that. I don't remember that exact details, but I have it. So I guess that comes up. I did say it? Oh, geez. Somebody said no, and then you said yes. Okay, maybe it was at the beginning. Okay, so if I said it, maybe I bring it up in a more detailed form later. Because that was sort of like the intro where you sort of say what the whole thesis is and then you go over it. Okay, alright, that makes sense. Right, and then she had, Allison had the father over the years, but she just kind of became suspicious after a while, and she always had it nagging at her, and then finally just started digging in, and she's done some pretty amazing things, like interviewed him on the phone, and he said stuff. He even said that he was going to kill her, but it would have been like the next day or something. It's ridiculous. Somebody else just got to her first, is what he basically is saying. Oh, again? If you think Nancy will deserve justice, I'd be profoundly grateful for anyone willing to let Mr. Maya know. Well, how about this?
If you think Nancy still deserves justice, I'd be profoundly grateful for anyone willing to let Mr. Maya know.
Well, how about this, Allison? Why don't you send me an email with like what you'd like people to say and the email address, and I'll make a community post, and then people can do it. Like it's just an email, right? Like an email, and in it they say, hey, we'd really like you to look into justice for Nancy Galvani. We've heard the story. We know that you can get justice for her. Like something like that. We've heard the story. Like I've heard the story. Something like that. We know that you can get justice for her. Yeah, so why don't you send me an email with that, My Father's Alibi. I'll put it in there, and then let's all send out emails. How's that sound? We can do it. I mean, if we can send 50 of them off, then there you go. I mean, 50 is better than 0, isn't it? It'd be even better if it was 200. So, why don't you just kind of put what you generally like said in the email, but people can write their own flair to it, and then put the email for him and the person's name, and then we'll set it up. Send it to me tonight after the show, though, okay? And then I'll put it in the morning out there. All right. Well, I think that's going to do it for my show tonight, you guys. I think we're getting close to the 4-hour range. Is that right? Let's see. Where are we at? Now we're at 3 hours and 22 minutes, but that's a long time. GSU's counting away again. All right, there's 51. All right, there we go. Oh, you already sent it? Okay. All right, so after the show, I'll post it out there, okay? That's not a bad idea there, Brenda. All right, so she sent me, let's see, director, oh wait, that's you. Yale Center for Infectious Disease Modeling. Is that really what you do? That's crazy. Like you're probably all over like COVID when it was spreading around. How about the bird flu? Tell us about the bird flu. What's going on with that? Allison Galvani, PhD, Director, Yale Center for Infectious Disease Modeling and Analysis. You see the bird flu coming around at all? Yeah, just say like in the email, I guess I'll have to put it out there. Is it really, you think it's going to be, jump over to humans at all, or? I mean, I know it's done a couple cases, but. Is it any more dangerous than the regular flu, I guess? Is that something to... Alright, I'm going to make the community post right now, so I don't forget. Alright? So you guys can go over there right after this. Let's see. Your channel, content. Wait. Posts is where it goes. All right, posts, and then this will be. Let's see, support. I'll call it Justice for Nancy Galvani. Right. Let's see. And who is this person? You didn't say, like, who is, are they the prosecutor or what? And what's their full name? Okay, Dear Mr. Maya. Okay, there you go. So let's see. Justice for Nancy Galvani, right? Dear Mr. Maya. due to the overwhelming evidence, please give Nancy Galvani justice. How about that? Is that a good sentence? And write it your own way or whatever, but like, due to the overwhelming evidence, please consider. Now let's see. Like, how about please? Let's see. Please make every effort to give justice to. Yeah. So how about like a sentence like that? Due to the overwhelming evidence in, I guess you could say, due to the overwhelming evidence in Nancy Galvani's case, please make every effort to give her justice. There you go. I think that's a good way to do it. How about that? Due to the overwhelming evidence in the Nancy Galvani case, please make every effort to give her justice. Give her the justice, the justice she deserves. All right. Please write, and what do you say it was? The, now I gotta scroll up there. Homicide, the prosecutor. Please write the homicide prosecutor, and their name is, I guess, just Mr. Maya, and then I'll put the email is mmaya@smcgov.org. So mmaya@smcgov.org. Okay, there you go. So it says, Justice for Nancy Galvani. Please write the homicide prosecutor, M, and then I'll just put a spaces in there. Dear Mr. Maya, due to the overwhelming evidence in Nancy Galvani's case. But you can write it how you want to write it. It's crazy, you guys. It's like, it's just so... Okay. So I said, Justice for Nancy Galvani. Please write the homicide prosecutor to support Nancy's daughter Allison in her quest for justice. The prosecutor's email is, and then mmaya@smcgov.org. Dear Mr. Maya, due to the overwhelming evidence in Nancy Galvani's case, please make every effort to give her the justice she deserves. Something like that. You know, you just come up with your own wording, but, all right. There you go. I'm going to make the post right now. There you go, everybody. Hey, thanks, Mia Wallace. Very kind, very kind. Appreciate it. All right, you guys, will you guys do that for her? Put a 1 if you're going to go do it. Just all you have to do is put the email in there. Write a quick note and boom. All right. Make sure to do it. All right. So I've already put the post in there. And, you know, I don't know how great I made the post, but you see the email in there. You have a kind of a template you could just use and just send it in your own words, etc. Okay. Awesome. Very cool. Anyways, I want to say thanks to... let's see, we had Thomas, Sylvester, Margarita, Maxine on the Buy Me a Coffees. Then on the show here, we had all kinds of awesome freaks.
My pronouns are Jim/Jimmy, but you can call me Al.
Jim Lon said my pronouns are Jim/Jimmy, but you can call me Al. That's pretty funny. Oh. Is that the Paul Simon song? Let's see. Thanks, Devin Johnson, K. Sarah Austin, Allie Cake, Amber Maiden, Moofies, Ozzy, Allie Cake, K. Blah 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 became a new member. That's their actual name. Tumbleweed, Elizabeth Gregory, Sarah Austin, Carol Ann, Jeannie Gayagoy, Sarah Austin again. Dying to know what you thought about Casey Anthony. Hope I just answered it. I don't know. I think she probably did it intentionally, but it's also possible just drowned and then she panicked and threw the body in the woods. I mean, she's stupid. Moofies, a new member. Alley Cake. You know they exist. Or Moofies got a member's upgrade, not a new member. And then You Know They Exist became a new member. Then Sandy Shirley gifted a membership. Then Richard Watts. Then K. Then Case Crack. Then Doogie became a new member. Then Michelle H. Mama 457 Rose. Lanky Tor gifted 5 memberships. Sarah Austin. Moxie Drapo. Dina Tall. Matthew Price. G. Gunnett Palmer. Lanky Tor, then Cheryl Moran, then Deborah Tro, then Who Knows, then Matthew Price again. Very cool. I got his first super chat ever. That was pretty cool. And then K. and Cheryl Moran and Naomi, then Matthew Price again. And then Kathy Shiflett, Moofies, then GSUPM. Then I gifted 5 memberships. We were trying to give one to Matthew there, but YouTube just gives it to whoever. Kathy Shiflett, and Kathy Shiflett again. Then K. gifted a membership. Then Cheryl Moran, new member. Sunset Rising, Matthew Price all became new members. Then Lanky Tor, My Father's Alibi jumped in there. Then Jim Lawn. Then My Father's Alibi, and then there's one missing in there. Her double cat eye doesn't show up on this screen here, but I can see it up there. And then she did another super chat, and Mia Wallace and Stealthy and Jim Lawn right there at the end. Anyways, thank you guys so much. That was a successful night. I think it sort of made up a little bit for yesterday even. So that was pretty sweet. Very cool, you guys. And we got, so tonight we ended up with almost 20 new members, too. Pretty sweet, huh? Pretty awesome. Hey, Jay Case. How's it going, man? You always come in right at the end, like right at the buzzer when we're getting the hell out of here. So make sure to go over there and leave a comment. If you're, after you've sent the letter in, make sure to comment and say, yeah, I sent it off, okay? That way we'll have a good idea of just how many people are sending it off. Yeah. Get that late schedule. I have to do some of those old school late shows, you know? Anyways, thanks to everybody for being here. I appreciate it. Thanks for supporting the channel, having a successful night. Hope you guys found the show interesting, at least. For those who didn't really know the whole DNA thing very well, I think by the time we went over that whole process that was well written in there, I think should make a hell of a lot more sense now to a lot of people. Yeah. You call me Lance Hughes? Yeah. Anyways, thanks everybody. Very cool, very cool. So we'll see you guys tomorrow, and hope we can help My Father's Alibi. Yeah, so leave the comments in there, all right? But there's more, there's a lot more to the story. If you've watched the show, we had her on, and we've talked about it twice now, fully. So, for the people who saw it, it's one of the most obvious cases you've ever heard of. And it really just kind of came down to a mistake when she was, basically when Allison had to go sleep, basically forced to go sleep over or spend the time over with Uncle Pat Moriarty, who has the same first name as her father. And it was just really unfortunate because Allison called her father by her first name. So when officers asked her, "Where were you?" and she said, "With Pat." And they go, "Oh, okay, so she was at home, and if she'd seen anything, that would have, then he'd be more suspicious." But apparently, but the thing is she was sent somewhere else. And that's worse. I mean, that's horrible. I mean, it just shows you that he didn't want his daughter there because he was going to be doing something and didn't want a witness. But, I mean, it couldn't be more clear than that. And then he changed his story about why I think it was something like, he's at a bar, and then another time, my car broke down. Then he's like, I was at a bar and then my car broke down. I mean, it's just stupid. Right? So anyways, thanks everybody. We'll see you guys later. Everything pops back into my head after a while. But anyways, thanks everybody. We'll see you guys later. And as I always say, until next time, be safe out there. And a 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4.
Yeah, I've been doing this true crime thing for quite a while now.
Oh, Linda Howell. Okay.
And during this whole time, I have not seen one person.
What was it?
That is
I thought it was Lance
crime
Hughes.
dissector, plug rejector. I'm a certified human lie.
Hey, me and Linda Howell have the same initials.
Gonna get
All
ya
right.
on a stretcher if you try and play me like an old projector. Crime sector is my nectar. Professor Gragel's
Gonna give another lecture, crime collector, freak connector, and I'm always gonna be a protector.
deflector, interceptor,
And I'm here gonna specter with a
vector
vector.
on his pector. With all respect, y'all, just remember I've a temper fucking
Projection, I have no agenda, I'm a tender, and I'm somebody as I want a blender.
And in the end, I'm gonna send ya on a mission to reveal the true offender.
Well, thank you, Matthew
Yeah,
Price.
so I'll
I
just
hope
get
you
right back
enjoy
to it.
hanging out with
All
the
right, everybody.
freaks.
Talk to you later.
All right, everybody. Thank you. Welcome all the new members out there. Especially Matthew Price, who jumped in there, was helping support the channel. And first time super chatter, hanging out with the freaks. His kid was watching. Boom! Hope you guys stick around. Sometimes I piss everybody off at some point, at some time. It's the ones that realize that that's just one shitty day and they come back. Those are the ones that are always here. But anyways, I make mistakes reading the chat sometimes. So anyways, thanks everybody. See you guys later. And be safe out there.